dirt, no rest for the real. Still spine straight, I'm a soldier, no chill. Snakes in the grass, they creep and conceal. 20/30 vision, better sharpen your steel. We won't stop, I won't quit. Stand for the truth, no counterfeit. Real ones rise, let the fake ones split. Repent for the lies, let the darkness live. Echoes in the swamp, whispers in the wind. Legacy to build, can't let the devil win. Cash rules the weak, but my soul don't bend. 20/30 knocking, better cleanse that sin. They want us asleep, but the light stays on. Fake smiles, fake friends, all of them gone. Cages of comfort, we breaking out strong. Roots in the south, but the fight's lifelong. We won't stop, I won't quit. Stand for the truth, no counterfeit. Real ones rise, let the fake ones split. Repent for the lies, let the darkness live. Prepare for the storm, skies turning gray. The wolves in the suit got dues to pay. From the ashes we climb, no time to delay. The real ones prepare for the judgment day. Yeah.
What's going on, everybody? Welcome back to ARP in the morning. It's your brother Wise, man. I'm here with you guys, man. We got a great show today. I got some good people here, man. Got some good folks here, man. We're gonna have a really, really good show today, man. Appreciate you guys pulling up, man. I hope all is well with you guys on this Thursday. I guess it's Friday for a lot of you guys, right? A lot of you guys are not going to work tomorrow. So we'll say it is Friday Eve, but we'll just give you guys and say, hey, man, it's Friday, man. Long weekend. Long weekend. Got a good show, man. I want to make sure I show some love to my folks in the chat. On the way in the building, make sure y'all hit that like button, man. We got 122 people in the building early. That's what I'm talking about, man. Hit that like button for me. We should have over 100 likes right now. I'm going to bring the panel in here in a second. Let's see. I'm going to make sure. Okay, we got a few folks. I'm still waiting on a few others to pull up. But shout out to Zephyr K9. Hope all is well with you. Appreciate you pulling up. Shout out to the brother Hunter out there. Man, always starting us off, man, blessing us with a nice verse, man. I want to throw this up there for you. It says, then Jesus told him, because you have seen me, you have believed. Blessed are those who have not seen and yet have believed. John chapter 20, verse 29. Thank you very much, Hunter. You're always getting us started off properly, man. Thank you very much, man. Hopefully this thing will get too ratchet today. I hope. You starting us off properly, and then this thing could go off the rails. So I do appreciate you, Hunter, man. Thank you very much. What's up, Lori Odyssey? How you doing this morning, sister? Hope all is well with you. Shout out to you. She says, good morning and happy Thursday, Wise and ARP family. Please remember to hit that like button. Hey, Zephyr. Hey, Hunter. Appreciate you, Lori, as always. Shout out to Kevin Caldwell and Marla 5656. What's going on, Marla? How you doing today? Hope all is well. What's up, Donald Lovejoy? Appreciate you pulling up. Colorado in the building. We got Nashville in the building. Mark Galvin in the house. Shout out to you. What's up, Nelly? What up, Cool Ramon? How's it going today? What's up, Diane? How you doing this morning? Appreciate you pulling up. What's up, K-Shay? How's it going this morning? Hope all is well. Let's see who else we got up in here, man. Y'all make sure y'all hit that like button for me. We got 140 people up in here, man. Make sure y'all hit that like button for me if you have not done so already. If you have not done so already, hit that like button. What's up, Steve? How you doing this morning, brother? Hope all is well. What up, RJ Hudson? What's going on? What's going on? South Cac in the house. I know Steve out of Buffalo. Hopefully we can whoop on Buffalo this year. I need to see my Ravens get into the Super Bowl. I need to see that happen. I need to see Lamar Jackson in the daggone Super Bowl. I don't even know where it is. I don't even care where they're playing it at. I just need to see him in it for real. What's going on, man? Hope y'all doing well. Hope y'all doing well. We got a really good group of people pulling up this morning. We got my guy Jason from Dearwell Christian. We got him in the building. We got my guy AT up in the house. We're gonna pull him up here in a second. We got Crystal from Crystal Beyond Labels. We got my guy, the business bully, Dave Anderson, in the house, man. So we're gonna have a good conversation. I'm waiting on Minister Danzel. Hopefully he'll pull up here in a quick second. Give me a second. Let me check my make sure I didn't miss any messages or anything like that from him. Okay, I hadn't yet. So he's the last one that we're waiting on. I'll shoot him a message if I don't see him pull up here in a second. Let's see who else we got up in here today. All right, what's up, Billy W? How you doing this morning? We got Melissa in the house, Sugar Shane in the building. Shout out to you. If you guys can hear me okay, make sure y'all put a 1 in the chat for me. Make sure we're not having any technical difficulties today. Put a 1 in the chat if you can hear me okay. Let me know the plans too. What do y'all got going on tomorrow? Who's barbecuing? I know my guy Quincy James is gonna break out the grill. He's gonna break out the smoker. I know that. I already know. All right, who else we got up in here today? What's up, C Bergie? How you doing today? Appreciate you pulling up. What's up, Dion? How you doing this morning, sister? Missouri in the building. Shout out to you. Appreciate you pulling up. What's up, Krista Knight? How's it going? What up, Spaces? How's it going this morning, brother? What's up, B? How you doing this morning? Who else we got up in here today? Oh yeah. Oh yeah. What's up, Scott John? What's up, Brian Gable? Appreciate y'all pulling up this morning. Mark Patterson. What's up, Kenneth? How's it going this morning, brother? Appreciate you pulling up. What's up, Tootie Bug? How's it going this morning? Toy Mafia in the building. Shout out. What's up, Malachi? How's it going this morning, brother? Says greetings from rural New York. Hey man, be safe out there on the road, brother. Y'all make sure y'all put some traveling grace out there for Malachi, man. He's out there on the road. Seems like on a day-to-day basis between him and Kenny Cooper, different city, different state, on a day-to-day basis, man. So shout out to those brothers, man. We need those folks out there doing what they're doing. What's up, Stephen P? How's it going this morning? We got Kathy Godfrey. We got the Fit Accountant in the house. Shout out to you. Appreciate you pulling up. All right. All right. I'll see you down there, Dave. All right. We're going to get ready to pull some folks in here. And if you could hit that like button for me if you haven't done so already. Blues, let's do a like check for me. I'm not sure exactly where we are, but we have 188 up in here. My expectation is that we should at minimum have 188 likes this morning to kick things off. What's up, Eric Smith? How's it going this morning? What's up, Leslie Aaron? We got Freeman Pennington in the building. Shout out to you, Anthony. Uh, is it Pickaninny? Man, I hope I'm pronouncing that right. What up, YDD, man? How's it going this morning? I see these names, man. It was just like, goodness gracious. All right. You said the sound is off? Oh, hold up, hold up. Let me check something. I might be on the wrong audio. Yeah, I am. Sorry about that, guys. All right, that should be better. All right, is that better? B? That's better. Okay. I was on my earpiece and not on the actual on the microphone. Sorry about that. Sorry about that. All right. All right. So we're gonna get things kicked off, man. Let me bring my folks up in here. We got my guy here. What up, Jason? How you doing this morning, brother?
Grace and peace, man. Good morning to you. How are you?
I'm blessed, man. I am blessed, man. And every time I can get you guys to pull up, man, and have the brothers pull up, you know what I'm saying? It's a blessing, man. It is. So appreciate you pulling up, man. Let me bring the brother AT up in here. What's up, AT? How you doing this morning, brother?
Thank you for having me, sir. Absolute pleasure to see you. It's always a blessed morning. Looking forward to the conversation.
Outstanding, man. Appreciate you pulling up, man. Hey, he's a first timer on the channel, first timer. But I'm sure he's gonna do very well today. I'm sure of it.
No pressure.
What's up, Crystal? How you doing this morning, sister? It's good to see you.
Here we go.
It's good to see you too. Good morning, everyone. Nice to see you. Happy Thursday and God bless.
That it is.
Good morning.
That it is. All righty. And we got my guy Dave, the business bully, in the building. Shout out to you, brother. Appreciate you pulling up.
Good morning. Listen, we look good. It's like a bunch of melanated Power Rangers up in here right now.
There we go. There we go.
This guy here. Let me reach out to Minister Denzel. I didn't see an email from him to say that he didn't see the link, but he is the last of the Mohicans here. Give me a second. See that.
Good to meet y'all. Good to meet you, Business Bully. Good to meet y'all.
Yes, sir. Same right back at you.
Nice to
AT
see you.
in the building, and of course my sister Crystal.
Hi.
What a pleasure.
Was that this morning?
Yes, sir. I like that background you have down there. I see that Captain America shield. I see you
Oh,
got
yes.
that Black Panther behind you. You got good taste. You absolutely
Oh, yeah.
do.
No, man, if I open that Black Panther door, my entire bathroom is Wakanda. Complete
Okay,
with
cool.
a vibranium toilet and a Killmonger mask, like Dora Milaje
Oh,
Spears.
my
I go all out,
goodness.
man. Listen, don't judge me, okay? I have worked very hard to be able to live my life the way I want to live it. And if I want a Marvel Wakandan bathroom, I ought to be able to have
I
it.
ain't hating.
What did
Not
Bobby
hating on
Brown
you,
say in
brother.
89?
The problem is Marvel keeps putting out products that you have to flush down that toilet.
That's
They need to do better.
Listen,
I'm here for the fight. Catch me outside, y'all. Catch me outside.
listen, I'm not going to argue that point. I really
Marvel's
ain't.
let me down. They let me down bad.
You know, it's been
They're
real
still
rough coming up
1,000
with their
times
first
better than
start.
DC at this point.
Both of them
Ooh,
are struggle busting though. I'm sorry.
Yeah.
Are you on the
And-
second floor or the fourth floor of the Titanic? I don't know which one. Who's better?
First of all,
Who's less wet?
I'm the band. Okay, I'm out here playing to the end.
Okay, well,
But
you
know,
played
the
to the
band
end.
went down with the ship, though. You understand the band didn't make it, right?
Yeah,
Right, the
me tell
band
you
didn't
something,
make
bro. Let me tell you something. I'm black. That band was white. I'm black. I'm gonna play, and as soon as I see the water hit the plugs,
Y'all are ridiculous. Y'all
He
are
all on his
ridiculous.
own. He on his own.
I'm diving in.
All right, man. Sorry about the audio issues, and thank you very much, Jason, and as well as Dave. I needed to switch. I had this thing up for whatever reason. I don't even know why it was on because I checked it beforehand. But thank you very much, Jason, for the $2 super chat.
I'm here
Thank
for
you
you,
very
brother.
much. Hey, y'all make sure y'all hit that like button for me. We're waiting on Minister Denzel. We'll get him pulled up here in a second as soon as he does pull up. But in the meantime, we're going to get things kicked off, man. Super chats will stop the show. If you want to ask any of these guys a question, you want to add anything to the conversation that we're having, super chats will do that. Super stickers will stop the show. Anybody that joins the ARP family or gifts an ARP family membership, that will stop the show. We will make sure that we acknowledge them as well. We're sitting right now today. We have 251 people in the building. It's phenomenal.
Wow.
I'm not sure exactly where we are with the likes, but let's make sure we are where we need to be at with the likes. We're going to get things kicked off. We're going to talk about a lot of things. I know you guys seen the thumbnail. You've seen the title. We're going to talk about the Carnival cruise situation. They're banning hip hop music. They're banning, I think, the fans and the boots on the ground and all this other kind of stuff. At least that's the word on the street. We know how the internet, the internet be internet. And we also understand that too. I don't know if that's official yet. We're going to talk about that, and we're going to talk about a host of things. Dave, you wasn't here last week. AT, you wasn't here last week either. So I want to start things off here. Yesterday, I did a video yesterday discussing this the latest update from Carmelo Anthony and his spokesperson, minister. You know what? Let's not call him minister. Let's just call him Dominic Alexander. I want to read this for you guys, and then I want to get your take on it. You can go with it wherever you'd like to go, but I want to hear, what you guys, at least the two of you guys, I know what Crystal thinks, and I also know what the brother Jason thinks about this as well. But I haven't actually heard from you guys since we got this latest update here. So I want to share this real fast. So minister, and we'll just go by what it is. We'll say Dominic Alexander. He wrote this post on X. It came out yesterday. It says, stop spreading the lies. Let's set the record straight. The amount of wild and false information being spread across social media is completely out of control. Carmelo Anthony did not submit a request for a court-appointed attorney. That is a flat-out lie. When a case is indicted in Collin County, the court system automatically generates an indigent defense. Always, I'm looking at that. You want to say indignant, but indigent defense form. This happens for everyone, regardless of whether they already have a private attorney. It's standard system process. I don't think that's the truth because there is some information that's going to
Refute that.
We'll get into that. It's going to refute that here in a second. But he says Attorney Mike Howard remains in constant communication with the Collin County District Attorney's Office and is still actively on the case. We don't know who started this ridiculous rumor, but it's clear right-wing journalists and social media influencers are intentionally spreading lies to confuse the public, create chaos, and attack this family. These false narratives are being used for clickbait, clout, and white supremacist agendas. Please don't fall for it. This is not journalism, it's manipulation. And he goes on to say, we're not litigating this case on social media. We are not responding to every video or post. We are not going to play into their trap. Now, I want to, let's see. Let me see if I can find it real fast. I had it right here. There we go. I want to make sure you guys can see this. So this came out, request an attorney. And it says that a defense attorney is not assigned automatically. You will need to ask the court to appoint one for you. You'll need to fill out a written application and show evidence that you can't afford to pay for a lawyer. And this came out via, texaslawhelp.org. So with that being said, we got all that out the way. So I wanted to read that for you guys. Dave, I want to hear from you. What are your thoughts? You can go with this wherever you want to go. But when the word came out last week that they upped the give, send, go from the 500,000 to the 1.4 million. I want to hear what your thoughts are on that. And this particular statement that came out from Dominique Alexander, you can go with this wherever you want to go. What are your thoughts, Dave?
Wise, first of all, good morning. Always thank you for having me. The first thing I want to say is I get kind of tired of living in the 1980s, meaning when I was a kid, I'd watch TV and I'd see these commercials and there's a woman who fell down and she says, I've fallen and I can't get up. And then that's followed by a bunch of commercials about if you've been injured, call the law firm of Dewey, Cheatham and Howe. There's always some leading black Negro that nobody ever heard of who calls himself Reverend, Pastor, Deacon, Dr. Do, Funny Bishop. And by the way, black people, unless you're Lutheran or a Catholic, there's no such thing as a Baptist bishop. We got to stop this hustle. I am tired of these folks running around here as a man of the cloth and as a theologian. I got an issue with people using God in order to get checks because that's not restorative. That's not justice. The other part of that is when you are raising additional money, and we know for a fact that you got a new whip. We know for a fact that you got a new crib. We know for a fact that you have been out here playing on the sympathies of Black Americans, regardless of where they stand politically. Facts are facts. None of this is good. None of this is productive. And the truth of the matter is somebody's kid died. The other part of this is, regardless of how you feel about what happened, I've got one question that none of these people, none of these so-called leading Blacks cosplaying as Black leaders has been able to answer, which is, why are you taking a knife to a track meet? Let's just start there. Secondly, why is it that we have all of these things that happen every single day in our so-called community? Because it's not a community, it's an experiment that everybody profits from, but Black people, where we don't talk about lack of resources. We don't talk about anything when it comes to the way we handle ourselves, the way we police each other, the way we have to move through the world. But this Carmelo Anthony thing, oh, well, it's just automatically assigned. Are you banking on the fact that you think that Black people are not going to investigate this, that we're not going to read, that we're all willfully ignorant and drugged up on hip hop, love and hip hop, Zeus, and a bunch of nonsensical hoobly-doo that keeps us distracted and ignorant, not to mention the baby oil nonsensical BS we've been dealing with for the past 70 days. I'm sick and tired of this. Now, do I feel for this young man? Absolutely. Have I been in a place where I've taken a knife to school? Yeah, but I went to the worst high school in America. I did not live in the Dallas-Fort Worth Metroplex in an area where the median income is $300,000 up. So if we're going to talk about it, we got to talk about it all. But these people who get in front of a microphone and get in front of cameras and try to make this out to be something that it's not because they want to be, the next contestant on America's Next Top Megachurch Scammy Behind Preacher, full stop, I ain't with it. And that's exactly why I wrote my book, The Real Black Agenda, to call out these folks with these damn myths and nonsensical BS. So that's where I am on that, why. So I hope that answers your question.
It definitely does. What are your thoughts, AT?
I love the way that you said that, Dave. I really do, because this and I put this in the heaviest of quotation marks, minister Dominique Alexander. It's unfortunate, one, that the event happened in the first place, but two, that as someone who takes a title that anyone can call themselves a minister, all you got to do is start an organization. Typically, they don't go to seminary, they don't go to the church to just say, hey, I want to be a minister. And he could have actually taught in this moment, right? Something horrible has happened, something that I think everyone will agree, regardless of the skin color, it should not be a conversation we should be happening. It's very unfortunate. And as a minister, you could have come out and said, hey, one, this is what God says. Have not heard him say that not a single time yet, right? I've heard him say a lot about these are the racial issues associated, a lot about the community, a lot about the family. I've not heard the minister at all whatsoever go to God and figure out how are we as a people supposed to negotiate this situation with the laws of the land. And he is taking racial ideology, politics, and he's making that the forefront. You just read it, Wise, and what you had written down there. I didn't hear a prayer. I didn't hear a scripture. I didn't hear, let's come together. Let's be peaceful about this and figure out what direction this is going to go. I hear a whole lot of money. I see a lot of cameras. I see a lot of attention. And at the end of the day, the individual is going to wind up being hurt the most from this. It's not going to be his quote unquote ministry. It's the populace. We continue to get hurt by some of the stuff that's going out there. It's going to be this individual who's on trial. He's the one that at the end of the day, no matter how much money his family raises, no matter how much attention Minister Dominique Alexander's ministry winds up getting, he's going to have to deal with the consequences. And no matter how much money they have in, it's not going to keep him warm in a prison cell. It's not going to keep him warm in jail or processing, whatever direction it winds up going. And I think that we're getting a bad example to what faith should be represented as on the world stage, on the national stage. And these kind of incidents are what takes us away from what God had intended for us. And I see no apologies for that. I see no remorse at all whatsoever for that. I just see someone who wants a large amount of money, attention, and to take the spotlight on top of him in this moment at the sacrifice of a young 18-year-old boy.
Well said. Well said. Jason, my question for you is the rumor mill out there, the internet doing what the internet does, right? There's all types of there's all types of, I guess, false allegations out there. He was jumped on. There's no real proof of this. The police report, because I went and read the police report. I didn't see or read anything that said that, he was jumped, and all this types of stuff. It was brought to my attention this morning that there's a petition to charge the brother because the brother was involved in some shape, way, form, or fashion. That's rumor mill. I don't know how true it is, but what are your thoughts about the people who are donating to Carmelo and supporting this incident? What are your thoughts about that? And what are your thoughts on the people advocating for kids to handle or solve these types of issues by escalating it to violence, to a knife, or to, maybe shooting or something along those lines? And people are like saying he's justified in doing so.
He's not justified in doing so at all. If he was standing his ground, if he was protecting himself, it has to be a in-kind defense. I can't, if AT slaps me, I can't drop a bomb on him. I mean, this doesn't work. It just doesn't work like that. Now, and claim self-defense. He's not, I mean, if he had, again, that's silly. I think the problem, we really need to go back and talk about our home training. We're not training our young adults to properly deal with adversity. We've created this narrative, this world where you don't have problems. Everything's good. The refrigerator is always stocked, the car is always gassed up, and your grass is always cut. There's never problems. Nothing. There are no problems and conflict. Well, I think we all know, if you've been alive for 8 minutes, you realize there is problems. There are conflicts in life, and we have to navigate those. And some of those, your mom and dad can't snap. You can't clap your hands and fuss and cuss and all that. You're still going to have to deal with this. My grass still needs to be cut. It doesn't matter. I can fuss all till the cows come home, but there's going to have to be some kind of mechanism put to them blades of grass. Otherwise, you're not going to be able to see my front door because my grass is too high. So you just got to learn how to deal with problems. And we're not teaching young adults how to deal with problems and solve conflicts in a way that it makes sense, because they don't see that there are problems that have long-lasting, eternal consequences. I want to come back to something now. I've been dropping links in our private chat. I'm going to call Bupkis, and you don't have to pull them up. You can drop them, share them with the community. I'm going to call Bupkis on two things with Dominique Alexander. My name is Jason, dearwokec@gmail.com. If you have a problem with what I'm about to say, Dominique Alexander is not a Christian. Hold on, man. Hold on. This dude just said he ain't a Christian. I just said that. I dropped a link. Dominique Alexander just last week sued the state of Texas because they wanted to display the 10 Commandments in schools.
Yep.
He just sued the state of Texas.
He sued him because he wants that to happen.
Wait, the link is in the chat. Link is in the chat, brother. So click on it in the private chat.
I got it. I got it right here. Carmelo Anthony advocate sues over 10 commandment displays that teach slavery is acceptable. This guy's claim, man. Goodness gracious.
And y'all can check it out. Feel free. I dropped both those links from the Christian Post as well as Yahoo News. Check it out for yourself. And you tell me that that's the proper behavior. And when you read why he does it, you're not going to walk away from here saying this is a strong Christian belief. The word minister, he just tagged it on. But let me also point out something else. I really want to kick a beehive here. If the Anthony family had money, they have money to buy and afford a reasonable lawyer. Please tell me what multiverse of madness would they have a woman beater, a child abuser, a chronic, he's been inside jail as much as he's been outside protesting jail. Why would they have him voicing for them if they have a real attorney? I'll wait. Explain it to me. If you had the opportunity to have a real attorney stand up and defend and talk about your child's case, or you could have some Yahoo that's out here, a community activist who's been in jail again just as many times as he's been outside of jail. He's a Temu Jesse Jackson. He's a wish.com Al Sharpton. That's all he is.
Oh, Lord.
My name is Jason, dearwokec@gmail.com. Email management, all your complaints. But he's really nothing more than that. Jeez. Do some research on the guy. That's all he does. He's in the Dallas area running. He's an ambulance chaser. He's a spiritual ambulance chaser. If you wouldn't call Saul, you would not call Dominique Alexander. I'm just saying. Tell me I'm wrong. Let me know. DearWokec@gmail.com. So why in the world do they have this guy voicing for them if they have a real attorney?
You know why?
Yeah.
Because they ain't got a real attorney.
And even if they did have a real attorney, the real attorney is not going to get clicks and likes and all this old nonsense. This is a game. I'm going to give you an example, right? If you don't like this, listen, my email is dave@businessbullyshow.com. Anywho and anyhow, you can call management, but unfortunately, my management is Jesus because I work for me.
Absolutely.
Now, I had a friend years ago who was a contestant on American Idol. And when they got past the Hollywood rounds, the executive producers and the showrunners came out and they said, listen, in case you think you're here for a talent show, make no mistake, we're here to put on good television. This is not your stepping stone. This will give you some exposure, yes, but if you think that we're here because of your talent, you're sadly mistaken. We're not here for justice. We're here for checks. And that's why you put these charismatic folks up there. That's why you got mumbling Ben Crump everywhere. That's why you got somebody like Jamal Bryant telling everybody, we're going to fast from Target. You need to fast for them horrible ass outfits you wearing, them sissy brooches you wearing, and the fact that you're wheeling out, even though I think he's questionable in a lot of ways, I do give respect where it's due. You're wheeling out a civil rights icon named Jesse Jackson so you can stand here and fight for illegals. This is what these leading blacks do. Julia Hare warned y'all 20 years ago and y'all still ain't caught it. It's not about black leaders. It's about leading blacks, because what they're doing is they're leading blacks to an emotional response so that they give financially, and we're still broke. Explain to me why all these churches, all these mega churches in these neighborhoods that are both well-to-do and scummy and horrible and Skid Row still are the most pristine thing there when $38 million a week is collected in the black church alone. Why hasn't our communities turned around? You want to know why? Because that money's going back in the building fund. Man, Man, please. That's why they got him up there, because he's another one of these slick talking, ambulance chasing, wannabe Al Sharpton preachers. And I'm sick of y'all listening to these multi-millionaire preachers who got MSDNC contracts telling you that you need to go from a place that has black people on their board and black people on their shelves to a place that has one black person on their board and very few black products in a limited run. But go off.
You know, I want to add on to what Jason said, if that's okay, Wise, because a lot of people don't
Go
know
for
this about the minister himself. So understand, I'm not attacking the individual. I'm attacking
I
the seat
am.
that he holds, right? I'm
Me too.
attacking the qualities that he has.
I got all the
Right?
smoke.
You know, it's one thing if, you know, Jason's going outside and Jason has a really wide rap sheet, right? He has a platform, right? I think we would hold him accountable for that. But to say you're a minister, and since being a minister, you have been, you had a child abuse conviction, you have a felony forgery indictment,
Let's go.
probation
Oh!
violation for a 2-year sentence, a felony theft warrant, family violence for domestic assault, and then most recently the controversy over supporting Carmelo Anthony. I put that all down there, Wise, if you want to have. I like to bring my receipts with everything. That's the challenge that I have. Would you go to a church and see a pastor talking about how you should be faithful in your marriage while he has 5 concubines in the back? Probably not. So anyone can take the title, but if you're walking with God or not, he's going to know on Judgment Day. The title's not going to get you through those gates.
Facts and evidence.
You're absolutely right, Crystal. As a you know, as a mom out there, I know you have children, and I know you have a son. What are your thoughts on the advocation of escalating schoolyard fights to, you know, deadly force violence in the name of self-defense? What are your thoughts on that?
It's dumb. It's dumb. That's what it is. We have to teach our children, you know, you have to know what in life, what are you losing when you decide you're going to step into that place? You should not do things that become a permanent consequence for your life in a temporary situation. You're upset about something and you decide to pull a knife on somebody. It does not make sense. First of all, that doesn't even equal the same type of force. That is 2 different things. Sometimes it takes more strength to walk away than it does to say you're going to take somebody's life. As I've said so many times, I told my children, listen, don't be a punk. But in the same breath, don't get yourself locked up, because mommy's not coming to get you. If you get locked up, I already taught you all of the proper principles, foundations, and everything else. Don't get locked up in the process either. If there's a teacher around, make sure you tell the teacher. If you have to defend yourself, because I don't want anything to happen. I had something happen Wise to my daughter where a girl, she decided she almost gave my daughter a concussion. And my daughter's a very quiet young lady, but she put her, you know, people pick on her because she's a little bit different. And so the girl started fighting her, and my daughter, it clicked in her head, nope, I got to fight back because mommy says she doesn't want to bury me. So she got to fight back. And she fought back so that she could be alive, but she didn't pick up any of the weapons around her. Like there was things around her that she could have used to defend herself, but she didn't do that. And so all I say is teach your children, number one, don't put yourself in situations, because I don't care what anybody says. Carmelo Anthony put himself in that situation. That was not his tent. And they are very, very specific about you being in the place that you're supposed to be, especially in sporting events, because I used to play in sports. I used to be a tennis player. You couldn't be on the other team's bench. You couldn't be anywhere in the vicinity because you have a problem of people taking stuff and you don't want to be accused. So Carmelo was never supposed to be there. I don't care how many different ways people try to spin it. He was never supposed to be there. He was never supposed to be there. As Dave said, he was not supposed to be bringing a knife. You are going to run. What in the world you need a knife for? You don't need a knife. You're going to run. Go run. That's what you came there to do. But you brought a knife. To me, you set yourself up for that. And as a mother, you're supposed to teach your children, stay away from that type of foolishness. That is not what you go do what you're supposed to do and nothing else outside that.
Yeah, I mean, I'm pro self-defense, right?
Yeah.
I'm definitely pro self-defense. I have 2 boys. They don't have a lot of family in the area that we live in, so it's really just them, and they're spaced out apart. That for the most part, they went through high school and middle school alone. So I understand having to stand up for yourself. I get it. I was one of those kids that moved around, and I'm the oldest in my family, so I experienced that as well. But when it comes to advocating for escalation, that's the problem. The escalation of defense. I'm all about, hey, if you got to fight, you got to fight. I just had a conversation with my son about maybe 2 months ago. I'm like, if you can walk away, you should walk away. Here in Maryland, we have concealed carry license, right? We don't have a stand your ground law. We don't have the ability to do so. So when you go through the class for your concealed carry, they tell you it is a absolute last resort for you to pull that thing and use it. If you can flee, you flee. You know what I'm saying? They tell you that, like, hey, you're not going to get a pass. You're not going to get a pass because you, quote unquote, stood your ground. If you can run. The first step is to remove yourself from the situation. And the reality of it is, I think when it comes to the kids fighting, if you can remove yourself from said situation, you do so. And if you don't have a choice but to escalate it, then you do so if you have to. And that's something I'll taught my kids. I'm like, man, don't start something, but be the one to finish it. But if you can remove yourself. Dave, I know you want to get in there. You can go with this wherever you want to go. But did you have anything to add to what Crystal said or any of these brothers up here?
Yeah, no, I'm 100% on board with what Crystal said, because my grandfather, James Lewis Sr., left Virginia in the middle of the night because he beat up the wrong Klansman's kid. And he told me a very long time ago, like he told my uncles and my mother before me, listen, if you get yourself arrested, you can get yourself out of it. He was like, you got every right to fight, but sometimes you got to live to fight another day. And I would rather you run. I train, a lot in Kempo and Krav Maga. My sensei says, listen, and probably my first couple of years, like after, I was going through different maneuvers, he'd be like, listen, why are you standing there? I said, what do you mean? He was like, after you're done, he was like, run. And I said, what? He said, your job is to de-escalate the situation so that you can escape and then you get out of Dodge. Point blank and period. This old trying to do all this extra stuff, the best thing you can do is get away from the situation. That's it, and that's all. I'm tired of us acting like everybody they pick. You ever notice that the people they pick are always into some stuff they had no business doing? There's never anybody who's got a clear record. Like they go to work, they go to a job. There's always something. Like this kid would have been spotless had he not bought a knife and then said allegedly, you touch me. You basically say you're going to FAFO. We got to stop advocating for ne'er-do-wells as if that's the standard of what it means to be black in America. And then everybody wants to rally around them, start singing, we are the world and we shall overcome, and hands across black America. Nah, I'm good on that. Nope. Hold your own on that one, partner. I ain't signing up for that.
Oh, you're not donating no money? You wasn't one of those people, Dave. I know you rich. You weren't one of those people that donated 3,000, 1,500.
They could use it, Dave. Come on now.
Come on, Dave.
All, that's a fat Faison lie, to quote Cat Williams. I am broke. I happen to have businesses that do well, but I am a broke Negro. I don't know if you understand how the tax code works here, Wise, but what you ain't going to do is call me a 4-letter word like rich. I'm gonna need you to pump your brakes.
He got that vibranium toilet seat off of Amazon Prime days, okay?
There you go. Yeah. Absolutely.
Thank you, black man. He already know it cost me $9.99 and the company paid for it. I got the expense.
I did drop my Cash App though in the private chat, Dave. If the Lord leads you, just saying.
Should you feel like blessing somebody, Dave?
Listen,
I got
everybody
a
bow your heads
couple.
right now. Heavenly Father, right now we're going to stand in the gap so that this brother can get a Cash App from someone other than me, because I am broke, Lord. I am neoclassically broke. Amen.
I got a couple super chats I want to read. We're gonna move on. Shout out to Malachi with the $5 super chat. Says getting paid extra to run through the 4th of July. Don't stop America from needing paper. Hannibal, Missouri bound on Saturday. Y'all be safe, man. You be safe out there, brother. Thank you very much. Shout out to my guy Jeff from the It's Not Your Fault Al-Anon Recovery channel with the $11 super chat. Says it takes 5 years in seminary to become a Catholic priest or deacon. A neighbor of mine became a minister in a weekend. Opened a church, making big bank, tax exempt. Luke chapter 14, verse 33. Anyone? Goodness, in a weekend.
Information that would have been helpful to me when I was going through seminary 22 years ago. The heck?
Shout out to K-Shay with the $5 super chat. Says Just Think Wise and the ARP family for always making my day better. And to all, God bless America. Thank you very much. Thank you very much, K-Shay, with the $5 super chat. And shout out to Jeff with another $11 super chat. From It's Not Your Fault, Al-Anon Recovery Channel. Says, touch me and see what happens. That's called premeditation, a la unaliving. Come on now, Jeff, work with me. He is sadly guilty. His family tree bore this fruit. Parents need some blame as well, but that's none of my business. Thank you for the $11 super chat. And shout out to Matt Green with the $5 super chat. Says, good morning, Wise. Got in here late. Wish you continued success and appreciate your efforts. Thank you very much. Shout out to Jeff. All right, Jeff. Goodness gracious.
Jeff. Go ahead, Jeff.
Maybe I need to
with the
send Jeff
$11
my
super
cash
chat.
app.
I know you need to send it to him. Send it to him. Jeff with the $11 super chat says, a wonderful, lucid, and proud conversation by 5 Black Americans. I don't use the term African American because hyphens divide us. I'm a European American. I'm not a European American, just American. Great show. Thank you very much, man. Appreciate that. And shout out to Jeff again with the $11 super chat. Says, free your mind and the rest will follow. Own your own actions like I own Wise on the golf course. You know that's a lie, bro.
Wow.
You know that's a
Hold
lie.
on, Wes.
You know that's a lie.
And he
Putting
said
laundry out there now.
He said it in
Ooh.
your house. He said it in your house. What you gonna do about
Wow.
that?
In front of everybody, too.
Wow.
Bruh, in front of everybody.
Wow.
Disrespect.
Wow.
Man, stand your ground, bruh.
You know?
Not
You know?
Maryland.
tee up,
Maryland's
man.
got
Come
away
on
in
now.
Maryland.
You gotta address that, Wise. You can't let that stand.
Insert some gunshot sounds. Gunshot.
He knows the truth. He knows the truth. Shout out to Northern Girl with the $5 super chat. Says, I think the one point we're missing is that if we instill self-esteem in our children, we will see less of these prove yourself situations. And thank you very much, Northern Girl, for the $5 super chat. I would agree with that. But some of it, you know, and I want to get off of this, but how much of it is, you know, the mentality from the music, which, you know, some would say maybe lends itself from this prison mentality of the whole, you know, disrespect and, you know, all this other kind of stuff. The way people move, how much of it, you know, is that, Dave?
Okay, so full disclosure for those of you who do not know my background, I spent 30 plus years in the music and entertainment and broadcast industry. And the one thing we don't like to talk about, because we always drop the blame strictly on the rappers and the singers, but we don't drop the blame on the people who actually own the record companies, because they have racist propaganda and a particular agenda to make Black people look a certain way. We can talk about how you feel about the facts, but the facts are the facts. I'll name names. Leor Cohen, Jimmy Iovine, Clive Davis. Like I could do this all day. What's the other kid's name? I can't think of his name because he's new. Scooter Braun. All these cats have these folks that they go out here and they sign. And you can say, well, yeah, but those folks don't have to sign those deals. But there's a long line of rapping Negroes and singing Negroes who are ready to get out of the hood and buy their mama a house. But until we address the root of a thing, you're going to continue to have rotten fruit of a thing. The other part of that is it doesn't stop there. Whenever you see something on the news, what do you see? You don't see us. You don't see us. You see Pookie and them. Even if Pookie and them ain't got nothing to do with it, Pookie and Shaquisha are sitting there with their pants down or rollers up in their heads. Oh, I saw the whole thing. Hey, mama. Like, there is a perpetuation of ignorance that is weaponized and become the standard. When you don't control your own narrative, when the culture is being fed to you and you're continually subjected to it because there's nobody at home blocking this. We've got to build a wall. We've got to build a wall around Black people and our culture. What winds up happening is you allow the powers that be to profit from your ignorance, and the culture of ignorance is real. The other part of that is when you understand who you are, you can't let somebody play you. And they continue to play us because we do nothing to say this isn't what it is. When the Jersey Shore came to MTV, Italian Americans was like, nope, we ain't having it. You know, when you looked at what happened, let's take comic books. When you look at what happened with Iron Fist, that Iron Fist Netflix show was hot trash truck juice, and Asian folks was like, nope. Black people are like, man, we got representation. That's the problem. So it's the culture of ignorance. It's the money that's put behind the culture of ignorance. And it's how people like the folks I named, plus Andy Cohen and all these other folks, profit off of that very well weaponized and machine influenced culture of ignorance.
I appreciate it. Anyway, you guys want to add on before we move on?
I agree with him because I'm telling you, it irritates the mess out of me
Talk to him.
when Bonquisha
Mm-mm.
is all over the internet on the cars twerking and making herself look ridiculous. And I always ask, where is your mother? Because I wish I could have. My mother would have tore me up in an instant. I think we have to go back in within our Black community and find a way to start celebrating the doctors, the lawyers, the accountants, the scientists, the advocates, whatever, the people who are doing things to make the community better
Mm-hmm.
versus those that continue in that celebrity lifestyle. Because that is why the young kids, they're like 100 rappers. Wise, I had to talk my son out of being a producer. I was like, sir, you know nothing about the hood. I took you to my hood in New York and you were scared. Sir, no, you don't do that. You know nothing about that. You grew up in the suburbs. Be quiet and sit down.
Right.
Right. So I think we have to get into like celebrate what this guy built his own tech firm as a Black man. Yes, let's like that is what we need to start celebrating because there's so many of the let's celebrate these bad apples, these rappers who are out here promoting everything negative, promoting everything. And I'm talking about rappers on both sides because the women, oh my gosh, the sexy reds of it all, the Sukianas of it all, these people that are out here just promoting just looseness and ridiculous. We need to celebrate the good parts and push that at the forefront so that the kids at home that are sitting here saying that they want to become these rappers, they won't want that anymore. They want to become the next mayor. They want to become the next president. They want to become these things because that to them is success versus I'm a rapper. Somebody bought my album. Oh, I got locked up. I got shot 50 times. Like those are the things that we need to stop celebrating.
See, Crystal, I was right there with you until you said they want to become the next mayor because if they grow up to become Brandon Johnson, I'm holding you personally responsible.
Not Brandon Johnson. Absolutely not.
Yeah,
Not
yeah,
him.
absolutely.
No.
Well, the other thing too, though, is that I think not all, but for the masses to see, I think there's some low expectations there. You know, everybody's, aspiring to be the next rapper, singer, NBA player, NFL player. They're aspiring for those things. And it's almost like those are things that's almost like hitting the lottery. And if that doesn't happen, I'm just going to get a pack and I'm going to sell dope on the corner. And there's so much between all of that you could get into and become, really successful and a productive citizen, here in the country. And there's a lot of opportunity. Obviously, I mean, I'm looking at 4 additional, people in this country, that are doing quite well for themselves. And it's just unfortunate because what gets pushed, in the media, and honestly, I don't think the media shouldn't be raising our children. I think that's something that we should be doing. I know, Dave, you're doing that. I know, Jason, you've done that. I know you guys are doing that. I know that's something I've done. My kids they wouldn't dare come to me talking about, Dad, I want to be a rapper. You know how many SoundCloud rappers there are out there making no money? No, I mean, there's thousands, millions of them probably. So my son, they know. We didn't even have those types of conversations. We just, no, that's an absolute no. Right. We're going to talk about something that's tangible and something that makes sense so you can go out here and become a productive citizen. And we're really talking about entrepreneurship. What can you get into that you can turn into a business of your own in the near future? Not to say that you're going to start there, because a lot of times, you get into the trade. Yeah, you need to get in there and you need to learn, but hopefully with the mindset that after I get all that I need to get out of this, I'm going to branch out and do my own thing. That should be the talk. That should be the types of conversations, not the next rapper, the next LeBron James. I mean, it's almost like hitting the lottery, man. You know what I'm saying? It really is, when you think about it.
Bro, but it's not though, Wise. It's the opposite of hitting the lottery because this is what nobody tells you. Like we gotta, and I'm gonna shut up after this, I promise. When you sign a record deal, right? What happens is they give you an advance. That advance is worse than any payday loan you can get in the hood. That's point number 1. Point number 2 is you'll get the limousines, you'll get the gold chains, you'll get the cars, the clothes, all that good stuff. And it comes out of your cut, which is usually around 7 to 8% on average. Their 92% does not get touched, meaning the record company's 92% doesn't get touched. So you have this thing called recoupable. So they take your advance first, then they take all the times they had to, get those thoughts in the videos and all the plane rides and all of the interviews and all of the marketing, all of that comes out of your 8%. And then what winds up happening is when that money runs out, then you're substantially broke. So they do one of two things. Number one, they will take your publishing if you're a writer / producer, along with being a performer. And then number two, they're going to give you yet another record deal and another advance. So they keep you on this hamster wheel. So you become not a regular worker bee, but a super worker bee who is projecting the illusion of, I've made it. Now you can make it too. It's not a lottery. It's a con game.
Well, yeah. When I was talking about the lottery, I was more or less talking about the athlete side of things, opposed to and the odds. The odds of even getting that deal. But I want to share this clip. We're going to get into this Carnival situation here. I want to share this clip with you guys, and we're going to read a little bit of the article that Jason sent over from The Root. That's something else. I'm not a big fan of them, but we'll read this article here.
The only reason I brought it up is because it gives all of the policy changes that Carnival had. And I wanted it to get from so again, it's just those policy changes. That was all. Go ahead.
Okay. All right. So I'm gonna play this video here. And
Cruise line does not like black people, and they don't want black people taking their cruises. Okay.
I just also, parental advisory. There may be some language in this. I'm not 100% sure, but I'm almost for certain there may be some language here.
Okay. It started off with the speakers telling people that they can't bring speakers no more. Why would you not want people to be able to bring speakers and listen to their own music? Anyway, now Carnival has banned rap music on their cruises. Now, I've been seeing little posts here and there the last couple of days that Carnival is not playing rap music in the clubs no more. But this morning, I actually saw a video of somebody in the club. There was nobody on the dance floor, and they were literally playing soca music. And the caption was like how they asked the DJ if the DJ could play some rap music in the club, and the DJ let them know that they're not allowed to play rap music anymore. So they put on soca. Now, y'all tell me, a place that does not allow rap music and rap music only, no other type of music is not allowed to be played but rap music. Y'all, please tell me, what is the demographic of people that they're trying to keep away? And Carnival, y'all got some nerve because y'all are mad dirty, y'all mad cheap, y'all mad ghetto. Every time I see a video of Carnival, the stairways is all rusty. Y'all got a whole documentary out here about how y'all ships be catching on fire and shit mixed with piss all on the walls, all on the floors, and y'all got beef with rap music. I think y'all have bigger fish to fry. And it's so crazy because I've never been on a cruise, and I always said, like, when I go on a cruise with, like, me and my homegirls, like, without my kids, we're gonna go on Carnival because it seems like that's the party cruise. I don't bring my kids in, like, high volume areas. Like, I would take my kids on one of those, like, calmer cruises. Oh, yeah, but now Carnival won't be seeing me, baby. I'm good, love. Enjoy.
Well, stay off of Royal, then.
I don't think
Exactly.
Carnival's going to
Stay off Royal.
Caribbean.
Stay off Royal Caribbean. I don't care.
Don't come to Royal Caribbean, please.
Stay off Royal. Okay.
So
I don't want to talk about this. Go ahead.
Yeah. We're going to do this real quick. So this is an article from The Root. Shout out to Jason. He sent this over here. So says Carnival's new rules got black folks all in their feelings, but others say the cruise line is justified. So we're not going to read all that, but I want to come down here. So what they're doing is stricter enforcement on drugs. I mean, I don't think that's a bad thing.
Can we stop for I don't want to
go.
I don't want to overrun this.
Go for it.
There has been a proliferation of people, like there's a whole industry of folks showing you how to smuggle drugs onto a cruise ship.
Yes.
Wait,
Really?
So
really?
You're out there. Yeah. I mean, please understand. Look, I am a cruiser. Matter of fact, we're going on a cruise next week for Lady Dear Woke Christian's birthday. I love cruises. My wife just told me our status, and I love cruises. I will cruise before I travel somewhere.
Me too.
I love it. I absolutely love it. I'm an avid look. I'm trying to get the girl to go on a year-round cruise with me. I'm telling you,
Yes.
I love cruises.
Oh, you're serious?
I love cruises.
I'm with
How many
you.
times I gotta say it? Count how many times I said love it, and it's multiplied by 9. I love
Jason,
cruises.
I'm with you.
I'm on it. I'm about it. But please understand, you are out there in the middle of the sea. You don't want meth addicts wandering around the cruise ship.
No.
I mean, come on, you just don't want that. You just don't. And the fact that there's a whole cottage industry of people showing you how to smuggle drugs onto a cruise ship. Just think about that for a second.
And
Think about,
alcohol.
yeah, and I'm talking about the because the cruise ship smuggles alcohol on it for you. It's called unlimited drink packages.
No, I'm talking about your own alcohol.
Right.
Yeah, no.
But I mean, you get a good drink package, you don't have to worry about it. And again, I don't drink alcohol, but I appreciate the fact that they have a pretty decent drink package. But let's move on from there. Did you hear what I said, that they're smuggling drugs onto cruise ships? Like, you do realize they will arrest your happy butt. They have morgues and they have brigs on the ship. They will arrest your happy butt and they will leave you in Cancun. They will leave you in Jamaica, Aruba, Honduras, wherever. They will leave your butt there in jail for something stupid like this. And I'm trying to understand why. And this is where I really want to go. My name is Jason, dearwokec@gmail.com. Why do black folk immediately clam onto this stuff? Rap music, and all of a sudden, oh, they hate black people. Shut up. You sound stupid.
Very.
Just because they say they don't want rap music, why are you all of a sudden clutching your pearls? White people like rap music. Asian people, Hispanic people. Have you heard Indian rap music? The dude up in New York had a rap career, Mandani. Other people rap. Stop it. You sound retarded. Stop it. Okay,
Jason,
roll to the next one.
Before we go on to that next point, I think you make a grand point there, Jason. Whenever you say, on one hand, stop stereotyping, stop saying that we all like rap music, that we all like drugs, that we all like to do these things. But on the same hand, when it's taken away, say, no, this is ours. You're taking this away because of us, right? I'm upset about this. You're attacking the black community. You cannot have it both ways.
You can't.
Either be upset that you're being stereotyped and don't lean into it, or just shut up. Right, and accept that we are part of that problem when we say, "Oh no, you don't like black people because you're getting rid of rap music and you're getting rid of drugs." Come on, what message?
I mean, really, like let that sink in. Hey, you can't have the devil's lettuce on the cruise ship. You hate black folk.
Yeah.
You can't have.
I want to run. Let me run through a couple of. Let me run through a couple. No worries. Let me run through a couple of these things real fast of what they're doing. So here it says brawls, assaults, drunken fights, boots on the ground, and fans in hand. Just might have Carnival Cruise Line saying enough is enough, and some black passengers are returning the favor, canceling their existing reservation. That means they're losing
Felicia,
because you don't get that money back. Or
you and that
canceling
bonnet.
the cruise line altogether, canceling the cruise line altogether because they deem their new rules are racist. But some argue, are the new policies racist or just restrictive? Now, here's a couple of things. They say they're stricter enforcement on drugs. Curfews, guests under 17 of 17 years of age must be out of public areas by 1 a.m. Boots on the ground, but leave the fans at home. No more hip hop. Limited, unlimited drink packages. We're going to get into that. No more Bluetooth speakers. Oh, that's a pet peeve of mine right there. I got a real issue with that there. Okay, so that's it. So I just wanted to throw that out there just so people know, what this is. Those Bluetooth speakers, man,
are annoying.
Horrible.
I was at the gym. I go to LA Fitness out here, and I finish my workout, and I walk into the locker room, and there's a youngin, in there. He got his music, and he's playing an artist that I'm not familiar with, but I mean, it's drill music, trap music, or something along those lines. And I mean, it's blasting all throughout the locker room. Now, mind you, y'all know I get up early, so I'm in the gym early. This is happening at 6 o'clock in the morning. I'm wrapping up my workout, and the music is blasting all throughout the daggone locker room. And it's kill this, elf this, N-word this. And I mean, I live in a pretty diverse area, and there's everybody, in there. But I personally don't listen to that type of music. I personally don't. And I shouldn't be subject to it. If you want to listen to it, that's what those ear pods and stuff like that is for.
Exactly.
You know what I'm saying? And of course, somebody goes and, tells the people in the gym that, hey, there's somebody blasting music in the locker room. Of course, somebody, one of the people that work at LA Fitness, they go in there and say, hey, you got to turn that off, man. You can't be in there. He gets an attitude, about it. He got an attitude, about it. He cut it off, but he got an attitude about it. And it's just like, man, what you want to listen to in your ear pods is your business. But when you have these Bluetooth speakers and you're just blasting it like we all want to hear your music, I mean, come on, man, show some respect, man. Dave, I know you wanted to get in there. You can go with it wherever you want to go, but it's just like there's just like a lack of respect for others. You know what I'm saying? When it comes to these Bluetooth speakers, you can go with this and whatever you want to talk about, but I just think that's ridiculous.
Okay, Wise, I apologize because people about to get mad at me. The first thing I want to point out is a fact. The fact is between 60 and 70% of all hip hop music is consumed by white people. Period, point blank, full stop. Argue with the numbers in your mama, but don't come over here with it unless you want to, pull back enough. That's point one. Point number two, I blame Carnival. I don't blame black people. I don't blame hip hop. And here's why I blame Carnival. It's not boots on the ground. It's not alcohol. It's not weed. What you're doing is marketing towards the lowest common denominator. And now, because of it, you're experiencing everything that comes from marketing to the lowest common denominator. And what I mean by that, before y'all saying, oh, well, he sounds like a self-hating Negro. No. I love black people. I'm talking about the fact that those who have never experienced anything and want a nickel and dime and Frontier and Spirit Airlines and Southwest their way to the party on the big boat will do what's called last minute deals. And those last minute deals usually take place between 6 and 2 weeks before the cruise because they would rather maximize occupancy in order to maximize profits. As a result, the brokies, the wannabes, those who will save up and make arrangements on their cell phone plan, their internet plan, and sometimes even their food bills to go see Beyonce while they wrap themselves in tinfoil are the same type of ne'er-do-wells who are coming on these cruises and stomping and acting a fool. And quite frankly, if that's what you want, you got it. Where's an iceberg when you need it? So stop acting like you did not invite this mess into your own house, Carnival Cruise Line. I'm looking at you because you don't see it on no region.
No, you don't.
Or Royal Caribbean.
Well, hold on.
Now,
Royal has a bonnet and slides problem too.
You mean they started that now?
Royal Caribbean.
Yeah, oh yeah, they got a bonnet and
I
slides.
appreciated about them because I used to do cruises literally every year for Thanksgiving. Now,
every Christmas.
That's probably. I think that's probably because it was more expensive during that time, and I went every Thanksgiving, and there was none of that foolishness, which I was thankful for.
No, it's not as prolific. Go ahead.
But what you guys got to understand is that it's not that the cruise prices have really come down. It's the fact that you have all of these ways to pay for cruises now. You got to think about it. You got Klarna and you got all these different, pay as you go or you can almost, think about this. You got people using Klarna for DoorDash. Like you can finance your DoorDash order, your $30 DoorDash. Yo,
who's going to the depth over McDonald's right now?
You know who it is.
Hold on.
That's my point. So if you're allowing that as a payment option, and I'm not saying you're fighting on this wise, but if you're allowing that as a payment option, then there's a barrier to entry.
Klarna.
Like, I'm done.
They have
you're treating it like layaway. You deserve everything you get, and I'm standing 10 toes down on that.
Wait,
hold on, wait.
But the thing is that I think there's a lot of places that there's a lot of I mean, you got to understand that there's this Klarna, these what do you call them? Pay as you go sites. No, what do you call those places? Whatever they are, you have people financing things like DoorDash and Uber rides things of that nature. They've allowed this to happen. This is a real thing.
I gotta jump in. You've always been able to lay away cruises. When you go down to the next cruise and schedule your cruise and you pay $50 and you get $300 cruise credit toward this cruise or whatever, you've always been able to lay away. The problem is apparently they've expanded it to the EBT community, and therein is the rub. They need to reduce that option and bring it back. Because again, I've never heard of this before. I just pulled it up. Like, you got to be kidding me! I didn't know you could do that. So they've created. I got to agree with Dave. They've created this problem because they've always been the Walmart of the seas. That's always been true. There's never been a lie about that.
The spirit of the seas, the spirit cruise line.
How they giving the spirit of the seas or the frontier of the seas? No, let's not do other seas because Royal Caribbean uses other seas.
But Jason, but they were always the party cruise. That's the one thing.
That's true. There's no problem there.
Because I was like I said, I was an avid Royal Caribbean. I actually went on my first celebrity like 2 years ago, which was. I ain't even gonna talk about that. But I was always a Royal Caribbean. But then when my friends wanted to get together and we wanted to have fun, and it was like no holds bar, we went to Carnival. That was what it was. But it wasn't 2025 version of Carnival. Boots on the ground.
They just gave me 40% off of the drink package.
Look at you.
This man lives on the water. I'm sorry.
They just gave me 40 up. They just said, look. But see, I don't drink, so it's okay. But
I
And my wife,
agree with the 17, the curfew for the 17-year-old. I
oh,
wouldn't
that's
want to say
crazy.
that. I definitely agree with the curfew because the thing is, why there's nothing good for them at that hour tonight. They need to be in there. They need to be in
Mhm.
bed at that point because it, under normal circumstances, it's not good for them at that hour of the night. So they need to go. They need to be shut down and be all out of the way. Let's just be real because they'll be sneaking again to do all the things that they think they can do because I'm free. I'm 7. I'm almost a grown up, so I want to do everything. They'll sneak into the clubs and all those other things.
And let me also just add to defend Carnival, even though I agree that they create a lot of these problems themselves. If somebody's drunk, if somebody's inebriated, if somebody gets into a fight and something negative happens, aka somebody dies, you know who's going to be accountable for that.
Their liability
No,
insurance.
it's
Right.
yeah.
Well, but it's still going to be Carnival. But you know who they're going to post? They're going to put them out on the blast. They ain't going to say, Dear World Christian smuggled, a fifth of gin on the ship. No, it's going to be Carnival Cruise customer XYZ ABC. So they are covering their bases. And again, I just, this Klarna thing needs to go away, or Klarma, whatever it's called. That needs to go away. That needs to be done away with.
Yeah, I
Hands
think
down.
they've made the cruises a lot more accessible for those that
Probably.
normally wouldn't even have the ability to go on vacation. Because I mean, Jason, what you were talking about, there was a time where there's always been a time that you could, finance the cruise, but typically you'd have to put maybe half of the money down and then you could finance the rest of it for 6 months. Now
If you do it on Carnival,
you don't have to put.
if you do it on
you
Carnival,
can
when you
actually,
do next, you're basically, it's basically layaway, like
It is.
old school layaway.
Mhm.
And you're not financing anything. You're just paying, like your bill is $1,500, or that's not, but you got my point. And you're just making those payments. You have up to a certain point to have it paid off in full. Now you can use your credit card, sure, but that's on you. But Carnival wasn't charging, or Royal Caribbean wasn't charging extra to quote unquote finance it. You just had 90 days. You had to have it paid 90 days before your cruise, and that's
yeah.
it.
Well, with
So
Klarna
this is
gives you
crazy.
6 months. I think Klarna gives you certain situations. They give you like 6 months, no interest if you pay it. And then the interest rate gets jacked up to like 30. It gets jacked up to like 30 some odd percent or something. It's something crazy. But yeah, you have a lot of people
Boy.
financing a lot of things, unfortunately. And it attracts a certain class of individual. And the thing is that by them saying, hey, and Dave, I agree with you. I think Carnival has realized that, hey, we did invite this. So what we're going to do is that, hey, we're not telling you that we don't want you there. We're just saying that, hey, we're going to limit the hip hop music, these Bluetooth speakers. I think that should just be,
Oh, that's
that's a
just
no brainer
crazy.
right
That
there.
should be
Just
standard.
due to the fact that, hey, let's be respectful to everybody that's on the cruise. If you want to listen to your music, by all means, do it through your earpods or earbuds or whatever the case may be. I don't think anybody has an issue with that. I personally don't have an issue with that. The boots on the ground situation. I know it's a new phenomenon. I'm not a big fan, of it, but I know the people that love the line dances, and I don't mind getting out there doing a line dance. I don't know how to do that particular dance because it's new, and I'm not out and about. But the whole fan clacking thing, they said that it's a safety hazard. That's what they're saying, that it could be a hazard to the safety of other passengers or whatever by these fans. The word is that they're not going to ban the song; they're just banning the fans. You know
Yeah.
what I'm saying? So some of this stuff is just out of, it's just, I guess just protect
Because
themselves, right?
because
But
once
then
they will hit because I could already see it right now. I could see it. Everybody get on the floor to do boots on the ground. Everybody excited. Everybody they have liquor in their system. The devil's like whatever they got in their system, and they go to twirling, and everybody wants to outdo everybody, and they go to sting that fan, and they pop somebody in the head, and then that person get mad.
Next thing you know, a
You
brawl.
hit
Yeah.
me,
Yep.
and it turns into a whole entire brawl. So yes, put the fans down because these people they get real extra with that fan. It's not just a simple, open up the fan. They're like doing the most with it. So
and,
yeah,
and please
Yeah.
keep in mind though, and again, this is Carnival's fault. So this is you brought this upon yourself, Carnival. The cruise is supposed to be a little less stressful, a little less.
Mhm.
I'm there to relax. Sure, the ports of call are there as part of the adventure as well, but the ship itself, I love being on the ship. Everybody knows where to
Mm.
find Jason on the ship. Everybody knows it. And our
Mhm.
friends that are coming with us next week, they already know it's a joke. We know where Jason gonna be. We know where he's gonna be, and we enjoy that. So the ship itself. So please understand, a lot of these antics, the speaker, if you've ever seen any of these videos, it is totally. I was like, man, there's no way out. If I'd have saw that many people getting on the ship like that, I would have gone ahead and just asked for my refund right then at the port. I'd have been like, you know what, I'm gonna take this L, baby. I'm out of here. But my point is, Carnival is forgetting. Sure, you can call yourself the party cruise if you want to. The problem is you've called yourself the party cruise, and this is what the party brings. So you might want to dial that back a little bit. Maybe like the less party. Maybe we're like the over 40 party or something. We in the bed by 9 o'clock kind of party cruise. But don't push yourself out there as we just the party cruise for the teenagers and the young 20s, and then be surprised when you get teenagers and young 20s behaving like this. Just stop.
Has there been an uptick of fights and brawls, on these? I mean, I know we're seeing it online, but has there been an uptick of these antics, or has it always been the case? I've only been on one cruise. The one cruise I was on, it was a Carnival cruise right here out of Baltimore, and it wasn't that much of a party. You know what I'm saying? It was okay, but I didn't see anything crazy. But has it? And I have to preface it by saying it was before the shutdown when I went on a cruise, because I don't like being in those confined places like that. It's just too many daggone people for me. And I don't like being around people's kids either. So I have my reasons as why I'm not a big cruise fan like that. Not to say that I would never go on another one, but I like the resorts, all inclusive and adult only, where I'm not seeing and hearing people's kids. That's just me. But
So
has there been an uptick of the violence, on these cruises?
There has been.
I think it has been, and I say that because, like I said, I am almost like Jason. I may be a professional cruiser. I spent a lot of time cruising. That instead of making Thanksgiving dinner, the family said all of us just pack up and go on a cruise. That's what we did. So I'm used to cruising. Problems. And on the cruise, it's usually just a good old. I don't ever remember seeing fights, and like every time I turn around, there's a fight, and I'm like, what is happening? People usually on the cruises that I've been on, we come off exchanging numbers with people that we met on a cruise ship. Oh, you're in this city. Oh, I'm in like, it's a camaraderie. It's not we about to fight everybody in the ship. I'm not used to, I'm not used to that. So when I'm seeing that, and I'm like, what is happening on these ships? Where's this behavior coming from? And mind you, this is both for me, this is both Royal Caribbean, Carnival, and Celebrity. That was the experience that I've had. I'm not used to seeing that type of behavior. So it's just crazy to me that you're seeing this so much more. And again, I appreciate the rules that they have set in because it's necessary, and they're taking precaution for their own sake, because right now Carnival is looking kind of bad. So they're definitely the Spirit and Walmart of cruises.
Also, shout out to Messy Michonne, because she pointed out something that I forgot. The length of the cruise also plays a huge role in it.
That's true.
A 3-day cruise, I don't even know what a 3-day cruise is. Like, we're on a 9-day. We've done 14 days. I think the shortest we've done is 5. And I think there's a difference between I think there's a difference between price for sure. The type of people that are like, sign me up to be on a ship for 2 weeks. Sign me up for that. That's a different type of mindset.
It's a different mentality. Yeah.
Right. It's a different mentality.
And I think that's probably why it wasn't as crazy the one I went on, because it was 7 days. 7 days too daggone long. By about day 5, I was ready to go home. Being honest with you. By about day 5, I was like, man, I could go home.
So why is Jason? Let me ask then,
that's just me.
If you're saying it's longer, are you saying that because it's shorter, people are trying to get it all out of their system as fast as humanly possible?
Shorter cruises are less expensive.
They're less expensive.
They're like $5.99. It's
it could
like
be
$9.99. Like they run in that price range.
I've seen them as low as like $300. For like a 3-day cruise. I've seen them as low as like once you add the tax and the fees, it's probably upwards of maybe in the 4s or so. But that's affordable for someone that just got their tax return in February. You know what I'm saying? Right. Hey, we going on this cruise.
And then you will see less of, and I hate to say, but you see less of the problematic people, as I would call it, on the European cruises, the Alaskan cruises. Like there are less of those people now. When you're going down to we going down to the Bahamas, you'll see a whole bunch of them on the cruise ships because again, that's a cheaper cruise. It's short, and they're about to turn up in the Bahamas when they get down. So it's like a quick turnaround, and that's you get the people who will use Klarna to pay for their cruise. I'm just saying.
Yeah, and so a longer we've done the European, fantastic. It was a good mix of all types of people, and like you said, we left. I've talked to people, and this was 4 years ago. I'm sorry, 5 years ago. I still talk to some of the people off the ship.
Me too.
So, I mean, yeah. So there's a difference, and I think when and of course the location. You going to Alaska? Like my wife wants to do Alaska. Say less. We make it happen.
Yeah, you probably won't see. You won't. Yeah, it's too cold up there, bro.
I want to cruise from South Africa.
Going up there. I wouldn't mind that. I wouldn't mind that though. That
I would do Alaska.
Dope. Dave, I got a question for you. Sure. I know you mentioned that this was Carnival's creation.
Correct.
Do you think that Carnival is in the right, or do you think they're wrong by making these adjustments?
It's a day late and a dollar short, Wise. You've created a standard and now everybody knows. Again, cheap always attracts the worst. Have you ever heard somebody say, listen, I can't wait to fly Spirit again? That does not happen. Nobody goes, you know what? That gas station sushi I got, chef's kiss. It does not happen. Cheap always attracts the lowest common denominator. So now what they're doing is what we call damage control. And they're trying to make it seem like we're going to put this situation right, but you can't, because now you've already squeezed the toothpaste. It's all over the sink, and nobody's going to put their brush in that because you wash your face in that sink. No, we good.
Okay. I do think it's salvageable.
You think so?
All you gotta do is just stop.
I mean, when people say, the thing is that people say it's racist, right? But
that's just silly.
when I was on the cruise, I didn't hear, I didn't hear death metal music, and we only went to the club one night because the one night that we did go, I don't even want to get into what I saw, but it was so ratchet. My wife was like, my wife was like, we out of here. No, it was really, really ratchet what we saw. And we pretty much just got up out of there after that. And we didn't go back to the club after that. Again, I was in the Navy. I've been on a plethora of cruises. You know what I'm saying? I did this. But when I go on vacation, I don't want to be packed in sardine like, with a bunch of people. I like to be able to get away. And I, for daggone sure, don't want to be around folks' kids, screaming and hollering. My kids are grown, and I just don't want to be around that. Somebody in the chat says, "Oh, black men don't like being around little kids, more or less their own," and I reject that. I refute that.
Shut up.
I refute that. But and it would have had to be a sister to say something like that. But especially as black men who have kids, the three of us here, we have kids. I know AT, I know you don't have any kids yet, right? Am I correct?
You missed the announcement. You missed the announcement. He's about to be a new father.
Oh, congratulations, man. Congratulations. Outstanding.
Thank you. I appreciate it. Life begins at conception, so I'm a dad. Yep.
Yeah, absolutely. Okay. I just know the last time we had a conversation, I know you didn't have any kids. I know where Dave is, and I know, Jason, he has older kids like myself.
I don't like how you said, I know where Dave is. I don't particularly.
Yeah, there were some connotations with that one, Wise.
I know Dave. Dave, I know you have I know you have an adult kid, and I know you have one that's, still on the come up. You know what I mean? That's still there.
Yeah,
both my children are adults. Yeah.
You won, Wise. Congratulations. Okay. I got a 10-year-old and a 26-year-old, and I feel judged now. Thank you. Okay.
If it makes you feel any better, Dave.
I wasn't trying to judge you. My kids are 5 years apart. You know what I'm saying? So we live that, with one, being an adult and still having one. You know what I'm saying? And but congratulations, AT. That's awesome, man. Hey,
I appreciate that.
I don't think you become a real man until you have a kid. You know what I'm saying? Until you have that child to depend on you. You know what I'm saying? Like it's a completely different mindset. At that point, your life is not yours anymore. It revolves around what these kids got going on, man. If you're a good parent anyway. You know what I'm saying? If you're going to be a good parent.
I'll take that. Wise. I'll toss you too, because congratulations. I'm going to let that Navy comment slide about how you've been on a lot of cruises. You call those deployments, all right? We don't call them cruises, okay?
Yeah.
Well, they're cruises. They're cruises. When you get that cruise jacket, you know what I'm saying? We got the cruise jacket. You get that cruise. Yeah. We call them cruises. And I've been on a bunch of them. You know, and I'm not opposed to being out on the water. I actually like being on boats. I actually like being out on the water. It's just when you're just packed, I like to be able to get away from folks. Now, when I was in the Navy and on the ship, I knew all the crooks and crevices. I knew how to get away from people. You know what I'm saying? You can find the hiding spots. I couldn't really find a hiding spot on a daggone cruise that wasn't my room. You know what I'm saying? I'm like, golly, this is crazy. People everywhere, kids everywhere. It was a lot.
But Wise, I wanted to point out something. You know, and I don't know about the cruises you've been, but there are clubs for specific requirement for specific music. So I remember going on Royal Caribbean, Carnival, even when I was on Celebrity, they had different clubs for different music. So if you wanted to hear Metallica and all, there was clubs for that. You just had to find that right club. So there's the club for if you like what do they call reggaeton?
Jazz.
Reggaeton,
Yeah.
jazz. There was jazz, reggaeton. There was all those
I didn't know
different
that.
types of things. So if they're saying they're banning rap music, that's because probably the club that had the rap music was problematic, because everyone on the cruises, they all have rooms for everything that you desire.
Yeah. And to build off of that point, that's why I think the young lady's TikTok was disingenuous. She makes it sound like again, there are literally 10, maybe even 12 clubs on the ship. You mean to tell me that, I mean, come on, just think about that. So to the point you're saying, maybe the club that played rap music is problematic. That might be it. Maybe they play rap music only at 8 o'clock in the morning. I don't know. But again, like, that's just silliness.
No, Jason, she was disingenuous, because I think the one part that made me roll my eyes was when she said, "I've never been on a cruise." Then why are you talking?
Right. And you talk about it's ghetto, and I'm looking at you.
Exactly.
With your bat wings. With your spider lashes.
Right. And then, like, who told them? Okay, I'm sorry. Forgive me, because this is
why I feel like you about to say something crazy.
Go ahead. We're already here.
He might need a big screen. He might need a big screen.
He said, "I'm sorry. I already feel it."
Put him on big screen so he can get get in trouble.
I gotta get this off. This okay now.
Put your email in the chat.
Dave at businessbullyshow.com. Who told her that lace front that looked like a Saturday morning kung fu theater situation that looks like she's about to avenge her master whenever she gets up off her couch? Who told her to talk about anything that has anything to do with this? This is absolutely ridiculous. And then she's like, yeah, you know, you sit up there and we're going to do that. And why are you letting them ban rap music? And you doing this and you doing that. And blah, 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 blah. First of all,
you're the reason
color
we
was
banned
that?
it.
What color was that? Is that found in nature? Or did you get that from trolls? I'm just trying to understand what wig shop you got that from, so anybody I know can stay far away from it. But Bo, you're the last one to talk about anything ghetto, okay? Because you ain't doing nobody no favors. You are not representing black people in a good way, but you are representing something in a good way. It starts with rat and ends with shit. Okay, thank you.
Dave, the only problem with that is she probably has thousands of views on there. She's probably got a lot of people who are saying, "Oh yes, sister, go ahead." Right? You're absolutely correct, and it just cycles on itself.
Right?
We don't
because
see
the
how we're
Tyler Perry
presenting
sexuals
ourselves.
love that.
Yeah.
Yeah. You got a couple super chats I want to read real quick, and then we're going to move on. Shout out to LJ Taylor with the $5 super chat. Says, I vote we hold an official Black American separation and announce it to the masses. Outline who ninjas are and how to spot them and who we are. Interesting.
Accountability.
Interesting.
No.
Does anybody want to add on to that? Does anybody want to say anything to that? Go for it.
I agree. I do think that we again, it's okay to say, yeah, I don't roll like that. It's okay to say, no, that's not my culture. I don't subscribe to that. That's not how my family gets down. And we've talked about this, Wise. I think there needs to be, I live in a community that's pretty diverse. And I told the joke that across the street from my subdivision is a trailer park. And you don't really know it's there. You have to know it's there to know it's there. But none of my neighbors regale about the trailer park. They don't talk about how they came up from the bottom and they used to live in the trailer park. Nobody talks about it. It doesn't exist to them. But we forever talking about living south of 20. We forever talking about EBT life and all this kind of stuff like that. Why do we regale that? You've been able to move from that. Now it's in the rearview mirror. Why are you always talking about it? We need to say, yeah, that's not us. And I talk to my kids all the time. That's not us. And they'll say, like, that's not the experience that we have. So we do need to say, to LJ's point there, thank you for the super. Yeah, that's not us. And I don't, that's not Black culture. I don't know what that is. Fighting on the ship.
Yeah.
Go ahead.
Dave, I want you to get in there, but Jason, hey, everything south of 20 ain't the hood, bro. I'm just saying. Everything south of 20 isn't the hood. Bro.
No, everything south of 20 is not. I use it because it's funny because I didn't say that it was the hood. You knew what I meant though when I said it. So therefore, there is some reality there. Because I'll say it to other people too, and they know exactly what I'm talking about. So I'm not saying that everything. Because
y'all
again,
Northerners, man, y'all Northerners, goodness gracious. And when I meant Northerners, I'm talking about those in the North Atlanta, North is those up 75. They're a little different than us. You know what I'm saying?
Guilty as charged.
On the east side and down, they're a little different.
Guilty as charged.
Get in there, Dave. Did you want to add something, Dave?
Listen. Okay. At what point aren't we going? Listen, I'm here for separation. Chris Rock told you about the Black Civil War 20 years ago, and y'all didn't listen. Okay, there is a war, and we're not going to act like there aren't, what's the word I'm looking for? Agent provocateurs on both sides. But the truth of the matter is, what did Kendrick Lamar say? They're not like us. I don't know them. They ain't no. Listen, if that makes me Uncle Ruckus, I don't trust them. You know what's over there. No, I'm over it. Stop trying to stop trying to make me out like them. I ain't like them. I don't want to be like them. I do not celebrate mediocrity. And I used to get upset when I hear people talk about the bigotry of low expectations until I realized they expect us to be low. I just did a popular show. And when the show airs, you'll see that when I said that my companies have over 300 employees, the host said, wait, that puts you in like less than 1% of business owners. Yeah, because it's so foreign for you to see a Black face, in what you consider a white space, just like people don't know I'm a tech entrepreneur. Like y'all using ManyChat, I got something better, but I'm not out broadcasting every daggone thing. But stop trying to make me out like I'm Pookie and I'm running around here. And we are the only people who get judged by the least of us. And we sit back and allow it to happen without removing our money. Y'all ain't going to boycott Tyler Perry. You ain't going to boycott Bravo. You ain't going to boycott
Zeus.
You ain't going to. Oh, you damn sure ain't going to boycott Zeus. And then you say you want positive stuff, but when you get positive stuff, you don't want it. When Tyler Perry again did Daddy's Little Girls, y'all ain't watched it because that ain't real. Black people from our generation and older criticize the Cosby Show, and we can talk about Bill Cosby on another podcast. But
I still watch Cosby Show now.
Me too, because it was wholesome. But people forget that the NBC executives said there's no way that they're going to believe that there's a doctor husband and a law partner wife, and they got functional kids. Why don't you be a trash man? And why won't Claire Huxtable be a nurse? And they got that show and they called it Rock, and y'all Negroes ate it up. Nah, I'm good.
That's true.
Wise, what I appreciate about that super comment the young lady put up there is that at the end of the day, we can complain about whatever we want in society, right? The church is not going to be fixed unless the church internally fixes the church, and the community is not going to be fixed unless the community decides to fix it. And I think that's a solution that's out there. And to everyone's point up here, gentlemen far smarter than I am, if you just silently just fold your hands and say, well, I'm good, right? This doesn't apply to me, right? So I'm just going to go do my own life. It's going to continue to degrade because to Dave's points, the loudest ones are the biggest problems. And they're the ones who get the podium. They're the ones who everyone wants to hear from. Nobody cares about the witness who's well-spoken about the event that occurred who maybe isn't interesting. Go find me a black-eyed witness, right? Go find me someone who looks absolutely ratchet. She'll be all over CNN. It'll be trending on social media. But meanwhile, the individual who maybe saw it, who maybe isn't as loud, who has those values, right? Now, we don't want to see that because that's not what the people want to see. The demand creates the reality, and right now the demand is for ignorance.
What do you say, Jason, Dave, AT, Crystal? What do you say to those folks out there that say, hey, the white man caused this and the white man has to fix it? We're leaning on them to fix it.
You will blame him all the way up until the day that you die and nothing will change.
Yeah,
exactly.
We need to take responsibility for ourselves.
Exactly.
By blaming somebody else, I give the power. If I blame Dave for the issue. It's Dave's fault that I don't have a titanium commode in my powder room. Well, guess what? I'm gonna be sitting right here twiddling my thumbs waiting because Dave ain't gonna bring me no titanium commode from my powder room. So my problem is not gonna be resolved by me always looking at Dave. There's entirely too many, and I've called them intra-racial issues that we need to deal with. We need to deal with, ain't got nothing to do with white people. The fact that, go back to Carmelo Anthony, the fact that Carmelo Anthony was not able to properly deal with his emotions and being told no by somebody else and just walking away or dealing with it differently, that ain't got nothing to do with a white boy. It really doesn't. That's an internal problem that Carmelo has. And it's going to sadly be dealt with in prison, but it is reality. But we have a lot of those issues that really have nothing to do with white people. Not a thing. And we can sit there and try to blame it on white people because we tacitly don't want to resolve the issue. We don't want to do the hard work of ripping off the Band-Aid, dealing with the gangrene, dealing with the all of the issues to get that festering mess out of our system. We don't want to deal with it. So it's so much easier to just blame it on, you know what, Crystal? It's Crystal's fault. It is Crystal's fault that I got on these black socks. And until Crystal deals with this issue, I'm gonna still be wearing these black socks because it's her fault that I'm wearing black socks. And yep, it's her fault. And the reason I ain't got red socks is because of Crystal. And I'm a prisoner. I'm oppressed because she ain't giving me. Doesn't it sound stupid? But that's how we sound when we blame it on white people. When we blame it on anybody else, you sound just that ridiculous. It's our problem. There's some real issues. There's some real problems that need to be dealt with by black people and black people only. Y'all come on up here to the front of the church. Come on up here. Come on up and let's deal with our issues. Now, sure, there's some other problems that could be dealt with. We could say extra racial issues.
Yes.
But some of those issues might go away if we deal with our own issues. I'm just saying.
Yes. Victim mentality with no accountability will keep you enslaved. It's just as simple. They will keep you enslaved because we remain in that victim mentality. We remain in that space of no accountability. And then we wonder why so many of our children, our futures out here, they haven't even experienced any of what history has said. And they continue to say the white man this, so I can't get it. I'm not going to learn. I'm not going to get my education. I'm not going to do anything because the white man, and that's precisely why they're still enslaved and not doing better for themselves, and decide that the best course of action is to be as ratchet as possible, be as problematic as possible, and think it makes sense and think that equals culture. And that is very concerning. So again, that's why these lovely people here on the panel, wise,
Shout out to the panel.
these are people that understand we are not walking around in victim mentality and in no accountability. We're going to raise our future the right way, and we use this platform to kind of share that information for everybody else, so you can wake up. You can either remain in sleep and struggling, or you can wake up and be successful and do great things with your life and leave an inheritance to your children, and your children can leave an inheritance to your children, and then keep going. But that's up to you.
What are your thoughts on it, Dave?
Okay, Wise, I apologize. And to the lovely people on this panel, I think you guys are absolutely phenomenal. I have to preface this because what I'm about to say, y'all are going to catch strays, and so I apologize in advance. The first thing I am going to say, as a person that has dyslexia, dyscalculia, and a stutter, who is a speaker, a 23-time author, 22-time consecutive best-selling author, multiple business owner, it is the white man's fault. I will give you that. It is the white man's fault that I grew up in a neighborhood that housed the worst high school in America at the time, that they sent Joe Clark from Lean On Me and Jesse Jackson to my school to say, keep hope alive and you can do it in spite of your circumstances, that they had metal detectors on every door of the school, but had enough sense for Domino's Pizza to sponsor the cafeteria. That all is the white man's fault. Period, point blank. The fact that I'm speaking, you ain't heard me go once, came from years of therapy, intervention, and a whole lot of people. My 11th grade teacher in that same horrible school, Miss Killebrew, found out that I had dyscalculia, got me tested, and then the world opened up. It is the white man's fault. It is not the white man's burden, though. Who told you to participate in it? When I was 561 pounds, I didn't go around blaming Grimace, Ronald McDonald, the Early Bird, or Burger King for the fact that I was addicted to Whoppers. I didn't blame Pizza Hut for the fact that I'd ordered 2 large pizzas, one for me and then another one for my family, and they better not come over here looking for my crust. I did that. And when I decided to take responsibility and accountability for myself, I was able to make moves. Just because they did it to you does not mean you have to lie down and say, yes, massa, because I have another. But that's what a lot of y'all do. Y'all keep waiting for them to come save you. Why would they save you when they make a whole lot of money from your so-called voluntary oppression? You're doing it to yourself. Anytime you're going in the wrong direction, boo-boo cakes, all you got to do, like that old song says, is turn around. But you won't, because there's a whole lot more sympathy from you acting like you're suffering. It's a whole lot easier for you to have TikTok hacks where you tell people how you can get more from the welfare, from getting an extra couple of kids, and how you can calculate that. Or you're telling your kid, don't go get a job because you're going to go mess with the amount of food stamps I can get. And yeah, I know that the majority of people on food stamps are white women. I know affirmative action benefits white women. I know DEI primarily benefits white women. But if you want to save something, if you want to save the Black community, you might want to start looking like Michael Jackson said in 87, and that's in The Man in the Mirror. Pardon me, but I said what I said. My email address is dave@businessbullyshow.com.
Now, I got a question for you, and you covered some of these things in the book. When you look at Black America in 2025,
sure,
and you look at home ownership rates are the highest that they've been in this country at this point. We know that that's the number one way that most Americans, generate wealth in this country, and we see those things.
Right.
We see, over half of single Black men are in the middle class and doing well for themselves. Almost all of Black Americans that are married are either in the upper class or middle class. Almost all, very, very small percentage of them, in poverty. When you look at the numbers of the incarceration rates, those numbers are actually down. They're still talking about how many Black men are in prison, but the numbers are actually down, and they were actually going down prior to the First Step Act, that was signed in office, back in, 2018, 19 timeframe. Those numbers were coming down. So there's been a drastic amount of improvement. You know what I'm saying? The fact that we're all here today, college educated folks, all of us, I would assume that are in the middle class, just based off of looking at your backgrounds or higher, in your case, Dave, a whole heck of a lot higher. I'm gonna have to reach out to you for a loan, but
I'm a poor man.
Why is there no conversation about the progress, the amount of progress, the amount of improvement that has happened? Why is there no conversation, and why is that not being used to motivate the remaining few that may be there, or the younger people that are there? You know what I'm saying? That can inspire to this. Why are young people still being told that you got to work 10 times as hard and you can't do it and you can't make it because of how much melanin you have, when the data says something completely opposite of it?
Well, here's the thing, Wise. Again, exceptions don't disprove the rule. Okay? You're not going to get freedom from people who benefit from this manufactured oppression we now have, right? The other part of that is, if I keep you just enough on the system, a lot of us have been, celebrated for being dogs on a nail. And what I mean by that is, if a dog's laying on a nail, it's not necessarily going to get up because it doesn't hurt bad enough to get up, only bad enough to moan and groan about it. That's where we are. And the truth of the matter is, you just named 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 exceptions. Period, point blank. Because if all of us were doing so daggone well, and the numbers were saying we're doing so, I'm not talking about improvement. Malcolm X talked about improvement and said, if they take the knife out 3 inches, but it's a 6-inch deep knife, you call that progress? It ain't. It's an illusion. On top of that, what has happened is we've gotten folks talking about home ownership in 2025 the same way they talked about education in 1980s. We've got to realize that there are a lot that comes with that. Like, we like to throw out this statistic about how Black women are the most educated, but they also have the most student loan debt. We like to talk about how Black women, and I'm not picking on Black women, I'm talking numbers, have, the most businesses started, but they don't talk about the fact that majority of those businesses are single member LLCs. or that they close within 18 to 24 months. We have to talk about all of it. And until such time as we own the bakery, I ain't here to celebrate crumbs, even if that crumb includes me. Because everybody I went to high school with ain't doing as well as I did. Everybody I went to college with ain't doing as well as I did. And a lot of folks hang their degrees on the wall. Bruh, let me see something here. Hold on. Yeah. One of them is in a drawer, unframed. And it's going right back in. And the rest are with my mama. Because it's not about the education. It's about what you do with it. And we spend a lot more time studying our indoctrination into BS that we did not create and adapting it like it's our culture, while they're exporting our culture. And they call it K-pop. They call it Bruno Mars. They call it swag. They call it liposuction, BBL, and lip fillers. And we're sitting back being told that we're ugly, we're poor, we're uneducated, and we're stupid. And most of us are too ignorant to understand that that's a hustle. But when you continue to lay down for it, don't be surprised that when by the time you wake up, you're covered in the bed bugs of your own design.
I'm gonna add on to what Dave's saying, if that's okay, because I agree wholeheartedly with what he's saying. Now, look, I'm not as fancy enough to put a degree into a drawer. I got them behind me, but please understand they're useless. I'll tell you the truth, they're useless. That is just something. I was told I was supposed to do it. It was a status to be able to say that you went through. I'm not saying everything I learned was not helpful, not interesting, right? But I don't use an aviation business administration degree. I don't fly anymore, right? It's just something that's up there.
Damn, he said I don't fly anymore. Go ahead, bro.
Okay,
Go ahead.
hold on. If Wise is not on the ship anymore, why do I get flagged for not flying anymore? That don't make any sense to me. It's just the way you
said it, bro. It's just the way you said it. Like,
this man came on this live talking about how he has a vibranium toilet seat, how that entire thing is decked out, but in the same breath said that he was poor.
No. See, the company owns that. The company owns.
Wait. We don't want to see it.
I like that.
I don't own that. The company bought that.
You know what? The company owned the helicopter too. I don't own that. All right.
There we go.
Well, you got a helicopter?
No. That was in the Army. That was a different day and age. We're not the same people anymore once we get out.
Send him your cash app, bro.
I got 5 on it. All right, 5 cents. Okay, I got you covered on that one. Transfer fee would be too much, but I do agree with what you're saying though completely, because we have to have a roadmap for this life, and if we're going off of, well, I just want to make it rich playing ball, and you are right, by the way, Wise. When it comes to the NBA, I think you actually do have a greater chance of winning the lottery in a lot of cases, depending on what you play. We're not setting ourselves up for success, but we're glorifying those who continue to say, well, it's someone else's fault that I continue to be here. It's someone else's fault that I don't go outside and I don't try to move in a different direction with my life and make some legacy, to Crystal's point. And I appreciate him highlighting that, because sometimes it's the hard conversations that hurt feelings, but are the ones that need to be said, right? Maybe we have made a mistake as a people at some point in time, but we can correct it today. We can't continue to look at yesterday's pages hoping that the future chapters are going to be a little bit better, meanwhile, while we're writing that book out there.
And you can't get further when you don't have those voices like Dave, like you, Wise, because they have the puppets. I call them the puppets, the Jamal Bryants and the Al Sharptons and the Jasmine Crockett's and all of them that are out there saying the white man is holding y'all down. Y'all aren't going to get ahead, while they are multi-millionaires up there. And they're not telling them you can get out just like I did. You can do it just like I did. They're not telling them that the puppets are being controlled, and they're saying what needs to be said to keep the community in that state. And then when people like us say, no, you can get out, there is more to life than that, they're mad at us. And then I become the N with the hard R, the bootlicker, and everything else under the sun for actually telling you that you can get out. Like, I'm wrong. You rather listen to the people that are telling you you can't get out. Stay there. That is the problem.
Oh, they come for your neck too, Crystal. I've been there when they say those things to you. Yep.
But the thing is that, and Dave, I definitely appreciate, where you're coming from. But when you look at America, let's just look at America for a second, and let's look at America and the average American finances. We're not far off. You know what I'm saying? And when you start talking about black men and you start looking at where we sit at, financially, if I'm not mistaken, I think we're like the number 3 highest earning people in the country. When you look at it, number 1, are Asian folks, or Asian, what do you call it? Asian men. So when you start to look at it and you realize that, I think most of us don't understand that folks aren't as rich you know, you got the top 1%, you know, yourself included in that top 1%, Dave. And then you got the rest of us. You know what I'm saying? And when you look at the masses, only 20% of people in the country make 100 grand or more. You know what I'm saying? The average wage is about $63,000 a year. You know, and when you start looking at, you know, black men in that realm, you know what I'm saying? We're right there with the average. You know, so I mean, when you really start to look at it and you say, okay, well, who has the money? Most people, well, let me say this. In American terms, most people are not millionaires. Most people are not, you know, just sitting on all this money, and most people aren't earning a bunch of money. You know what I'm saying? Let's just keep it a buck. Most people aren't. The masses. We're not talking about, you know, the hand-picked few. We're talking about the masses. When only 20% of people in the country make 100 grand, the average wage in the country right now is between like 45 and about 65,000. I mean, now, when you look at that in the grand scheme of things across the world, you know, I think all of us, you know, on the platform right now we're probably top 5% earners in the entire world. Certainly. You know what I'm saying? Right. So we're not as bad off. Where I was going is we're not as bad off as they would like to portray us to be. You know what I'm saying? And when you look at it that in our country, even if you are a kid, and I was one of those kids, if you start off in the bottom 10%, this is one of the few countries that you can work your way at least into the middle. You know what I'm saying? And if you got some maybe, you know, exceptional skill or something along those lines, or just a strong work ethic, you know what I'm saying? And some other things about yourself, you can find yourself into the top 10%. Certainly. It is possible. It is doable. You know what I'm saying? And I don't think that is something that's being taught, you know, to a lot of our people out there. And the reality of what really bothers me is that you have people that are in the top 10% telling the bottom 90 that I got here, but you can't. I reject that. Right. You know what I'm saying? I reject it. And the thing is that, again, now I worked in staffing, you know this, I was a headhunter. I got a chance to see, you know, how much money people make. And it was my job to study it. Most people aren't making a ton of money, and most people don't have a ton of money. Let's just keep it a buck. Most don't, regardless of who you are, race-wise. Right. Most people don't. And the average millionaire, I think 90% of them are first generation. They did it on their own, the average. You know what I'm saying? So it's like we're being told something that's not really true. And I think it for people that are on the lower end of that, it can discourage them. It can be debilitating. You know what I'm saying?
I agree.
Okay. So I'm with you. And I think you're right. But there's making the money, and then there's keeping the money. Not only is it
totally different conversations. Right. You're right.
Not only is it keeping the money, but it's circulating the money. Because if you go to any hood in America, now we can talk about how you feel, but we can talk about facts. Now, personally, I have lived in 19 states and 34 cities, because that's what happens when you're in broadcasting. You move a lot. I have seen a deli district. I've seen a diamond district. I've seen a Little Italy, Koreatown, Chinatown. I ain't seen Brothertown or Black Girl Magicville yet. And when you go into the hood, the majority of the businesses are not owned or controlled by Black people. In every other culturally competent district, the people who control the money are the people who live there. So if your money is being made, but you're circulating it for 6 hours in your own community before it goes out, that's a problem. And that's what I talk about in the book. It's not just how much you make, it's how much you keep and how much that money circulates. We have to have that conversation. It don't matter how much money you make. If in fact,
you get no argument from me on that.
No, not at all. None. But I'm saying this more for the audience than for you. It doesn't matter how much money you make. If in fact you've never been taught financial literacy, and I'm not talking about 2 substitute teachers who are backed by Steve Stout, and you can put that together on your own time if you know what I'm talking about, Black people. But I'm talking about people showing you how to balance a checkbook, how to do your taxes, how to create a business, how to create trust for your kids, how nepotism is not a bad thing in Black hands. It's a necessity. How life insurance isn't an accessory. It's an ammunition to protect your wealth. We don't have that part of the conversation, but we love to just talk about how much money we're making and how much we're doing this and how much we're doing that, but we're not having the whole conversation. And that's why we are where we are. Because I'll ask you right now, what's the Black-owned hotel chain? Don't worry, I'll wait.
Don't know one.
What's the Black-owned hospital network? Don't worry, I'll wait. Out of the 22 left historically Black banks and financial institutions, how many of them are run by Black people, even if they have ownership on their own on their own skin? Come on, man. We got to talk about the fact that we don't have all of those things in place.
You get no argument from me there, none whatsoever. But what I will say is this, to push back just a little bit.
Sure.
Most Americans are what you just described. You could say that about most Americans. Only 60% of people don't have $400 in their bank account for an emergency right now. It didn't say 60% of Black people. That's 60% of people. And if that number jumped to 1,000, the number was 85, 90% of people. So we could say that's just majority of Americans that are fiscally irresponsible and financially illiterate. That's majority of Americans. You know what I'm saying? Just based off of the studies that have been presented out there.
Certainly.
That's most. So I do understand where you're coming from, and I agree with you. But heck, we could say that about the entire country. Most people are broke. Most people are check to check. 40% of people that make $100,000 a year right now are living check to check.
Absolutely.
You know what I'm saying? Because it really, like you're right. It's not about how much you make. It is about how much you keep. Now, there's a book that came out. I don't know if you read it. It's called Color, Communism, and Common Sense. Are you familiar with that?
Yep.
It's more of a pamphlet. It was more of a pamphlet, but it came out as a book. You're familiar with it. Okay.
Yes.
If you have not read that book, I definitely think you should read it. It's for free. You can listen to it for free on YouTube, you know, if you don't want to purchase it or something along those lines. But this book came out in the late, if I'm not mistaken, and Jason helped me out with this, I want to say it was like late 1800s when this book came out.
No.
1958, bro.
Yeah. This dude was a communist in the United States.
He was communist in the United States. Yeah.
This is in the 60s. It came out
Manning
like
Johnson.
Yep.
Yeah, Manning Johnson. And he talks about what you just described. He actually goes into detail why it hasn't happened the way it's supposed to happen. It actually goes into detail. And we're still seeing that same blueprint that he discusses in the book. Yep. We're still seeing that blueprint play itself out right now. We're seeing it. So how much of it do we have to identify those that are actually working with others? Crystal mentioned this last week about who she ran into when she was at a lunch or breakfast or something along those lines, when she ran into Jamal Bryant and who he was speaking to and who he was dealing with. So how much of it is the people, that are in these positions that are using us, to further a separate agenda outside of the agenda, that you described?
That's why I said puppets. That's because they are puppets.
That's right.
At this point, how do you not understand that? Malcolm X was talking about the fact you shouldn't be listening to comedians and trumpet players, yet we got clips of D.L. Hughley yelling and screaming about boats and things being renamed about Confederate people. Bro, you are a 1/10 of a 1%er. I need you to pipe down. Somebody just asked in the comments, what do I do? Well, I put more Black people in the 1% than Nick Cannon with a bag of Viagra. That's what I do. I employ over 300 Black people. So at the end of the day,
I'm sorry, Dave. That is just like saying I used to fly. Okay, I just want you to know you just gave that same tone. Like,
thank you. I'm happy somebody caught that. I appreciate that.
No, but here's the thing. The problem is Google is a snitch. It'll tell all my business. And when you try to say, well, what has he done? I don't just sit around here and write books and give speeches. I actually do things. That's why I haven't punched the clock in over a decade and a half. But since you asked, I will answer the question, because then it's fair game. And yeah, no, I don't fly at all. not in the front. I'm not in the cockpit like some people. I don't
like
look
some
at
people
military,
used to be.
I don't look at military exercises on massive destroyers as a cruise, but I'm also not built likewise. But my thing is, we have to understand that there will always be agent provocateurs. We have to understand that the reason that the church is no longer a safe haven for Black revolution is because they took care of that with the FBI. And I ain't talking about the Federal Bureau of Investigation. I'm talking about faith-based initiatives. Somebody will catch that in 3 seconds. So when we're going to have this conversation, we have to understand that we continue to participate in this nonsense and act like it's okay. And that's why I put together a book and wrote 30,000 plus words to explain to you what we need to be doing and how we fix our own problems. Because y'all keep waiting for some magical Santa Claus. named Donald Trump or Joe Biden or Kamala, I don't know what the hell you are, Harris, to save
No, it's
you.
Jasmine Crockett. It's Jasmine Crockett now.
It's Jasmine
I'm
Crockett.
sorry.
Let's move on to
Jasmine?
Jasmine.
Oh, I'm
It's
sorry. I
Jasmine.
didn't realize that Super Bowl skits and dancing and lashes and ill-fitted wigs were going to save black people. But okay, sure, Jasmine, why not?
Mhm.
Okay, name the
Tornado.
policy she's gotten passed, or the bill that she's gotten passed that has helped black people.
She hadn't got a bill passed, period. What we
That's what I
talking
was going
about?
to
She
say.
hadn't
I
even
can't
presented
think
one.
of a single one she's even done.
That part,
Right.
Yeah,
But
she
you
hadn't
got
even put
time.
one
But you
out.
got time to do Kendrick Lamar Super Bowl skits. Okay, you
Yeah,
got time to do
yeah.
Who's Your Fighter.
I got a couple
memes.
super chats I want to read, and we're gonna move on. But man, this is a good conversation. Shout out to Rio's Family Garden Food Forest for joining the ARP family. Thank you very much for supporting the channel. Appreciate that. Shout out to Amethyst Angel with the $2 super chat. She says those are the same ones disclosing where ICE is. Okay. Shout out to Messy Machine Live with the $10 super sticker. Thank you very much. Thank you very much. And thank you as well, Amethyst Angel. Shout out to Mark Herrera, says most rap music promotes anti-God behavior. I could agree with that. Shout out to my guy over at the Freeman's Network with the $5 super chat, says let's just stay away from them ghetto ratchets and love on the clear people so we can be good. If any of you guys want to speak to that, I'll allow you to do so. I don't necessarily agree with the statement, but let's keep it moving. Shout out to my guy Jeff over It's Not Your Fault with the $11 super chat, says I'm fluffy because of forks. Lord have mercy.
I like that.
Good Lord, Jeff. Come on now. Shout out to Mark Herrera with the $2 super chat, says you can't blame your way to a successful life. I do agree with that.
Amen.
I definitely agree with that. Shout out to Jeff with the $11 super chat, says a military stint in the armed forces is worth more than any degree, in my humble opinion. I definitely would agree with that. It definitely changed my life for the better. I was definitely headed in the wrong direction. So it definitely helped me out tremendously. Shout out to Amethyst Angel with the $2 super chat, says, who is the bro at the bottom? I want to subscribe. At the bottom, I believe that is, you're talking about Dave, the business bully. Go check him out, Dave. If you want to let him know what your channel is,
One percenter, 1%,
Whoa,
y'all.
stop that. No, I'm a very, very poor man. I'm a very poor man.
0.1%.
Let's stop that. I'm a very, very poor man. Cool Ramon says 300 black employees sounds racist. It's not racist to my Asian employees. It's definitely not racist to my white employees. So again, it is what it is. But meanwhile, you can find me at the Business Bully. My YouTube channel is the Business Bully. My Instagram is the Business Bully. The realblackagenda.com is right here. So I mean, get the book. But yeah, no, my whole thing is you've never walked into Chinatown and said all these Chinese businesses with all this Chinese writing on them is racist. Whenever black people do for themselves and pick themselves up by the bootstraps and bring other black people with them, that sounds racist. It sounds like we're not in your pockets though, right? Oh, okay, cool. Thank you.
We got one more super chat. Freeman's Network with the $10 super chat. Appreciate you, brother. This is a poison that has been festering and spreading for decades now. And the only antidote is separation and delineation to cure it. Does any of you guys want to speak to that?
I agree with that. I mean, it's what we talked about before. 100% agree, right? You can sit here and wait for someone else to solve the problem for you, or you can identify it and actually do something about it. Very well said.
All right. We're going to move on. Yesterday, there was some news that came out. I guess it initially came out the day before, and then, we received a little more information. Diddy looks like he's not going to do life in prison. Looks like, the two charges still, we're talking 20 years or so or something along those lines, but I hadn't covered that, and I don't really want to talk about the Diddy situation so much. I don't really want to get into that because it's not something I've covered. And a lot of it just I hadn't really cared much about it. Case about baby oil. But I wanted to show you this, and I know you guys seen this on X. And I wanted to get your thoughts. A parental advisory. Hopefully, I think this thing is blurred out. So I want you guys to see this. Dave, I want to start with you or Jason.
God.
No, we'll start with Jason. But I want to get your thoughts on this after we let this play. Okay. That's enough of that before she goes too far, because I think she does eventually remove the top.
She does.
I think she does. I think
for Wise.
That is at the
Okay,
Diddy
so
trial.
after the verdict was after they heard the verdict of the RICO charge being he was not guilty on that, and he was not guilty on 3 other charges, guilty on 2 charges, but the serious charge, the most serious charge. These are the people celebrating with baby oil and other types of foolishness outside of the courthouse. The young lady with the blue wig. Jason, Dave, wherever y'all want to
Yeah,
go with this,
I
you
got
can
you.
go with it. I mean, but this is just ridiculous, in my
Yield to
opinion, man.
Jason.
I've said this before. The Diddy, and I did this. I did a video discussing what we can learn from the Diddy trial at the beginning. The fact that we celebrate debauchery, we celebrate our debaseness, and we've allowed the hoification of our society to reach a fever pitch now, to the point that we're literally celebrating in that type of way. What are you celebrating? Like, what are you actually celebrating? That's insane. So this parasocial engagement where you think that you're connected with Diddy to the point that you should celebrate. Again, you can be interested in it. You can find some kind of morbid curiosity in it. There's no problem with that. But what we just saw right there is, again, we're just watching our society completely and totally unravel because we refuse to agree and submit and surrender to God's perfect design. The only reason Diddy's in this situation is because he didn't follow instructions. That's it. If he had kept his jank in his pants for his one wife, he wouldn't have that problem.
What wife?
Well, I'm saying like, get a wife, keep his jank in her and the kids that come out of her. That's it. We wouldn't be having this conversation. But same thing with Shannon. The same thing with Nick Cannon. Fill in the blank with any NFL, NBA player. The exact same thing. They think that they're smarter than the instructions, and instructions have proven time and time and time again that God is so much smarter than us. And so therein is the problem. So this right here, I had not seen that, and I could have gone 100 lifetimes without seeing it. But thanks, Wise, you ruined my day. But again, it's
I'm sorry.
it's the fact that
I'm sorry.
it's the fact that we refuse. And so we're watching this, man. We're just watching people who refuse to submit and surrender to God's perfect design, and that we're smarter than him. I know better. As Psalm 2 says, they're shaking their fist at God. And let's burst off the bond. They see God's correction and God's guidance as bondage. They see God's instructions as limiting. And where in reality, if you're married, you realize that you have all kinds of freedom with your spouse. And think about it. By him restricting you from certain things, he's giving you freedom in one thing, and it's beautiful. But see, I don't have to worry about kids that don't have my last name or not raised in my house or somebody hitting me up for child support, because I believe that God's plan is perfect and he knows exactly what he's doing. And we watch Diddy, and he's a perfect example of what happens when you don't. And I always encourage people, go on to read Proverbs 5, 6, and 7. And then when you read that, you'll say, yeah, this is our society. Okay, that's it.
Dave, you want to get in there?
Yeah, I'd like to. Unfortunately, I have to. I'm gonna tell you something. The first thing I'm gonna tell you is I've met Puff on several occasions. How about no? How about no? The other part of that is I've been to white parties, I've been to Denim and Diamonds parties, but I took the station van and I took my black behind home like I had some sense, because I've been in the industry for a very long time. I know what happens. Freak offs are not anything new, and Puff didn't invent them. They, I would say the first purveyor of freak offs was Clive Davis, but y'all not ready to have that conversation because that conversation comes with a certain level of reckoning. The other part of that is Diddy was doing just fine, and Kanye told you and Mace told you that Diddy was a Fed. Y'all didn't believe him. See, the funny thing about the title criminal informant is that once they're done getting all the information from you, then they turn you into the criminal that you already were. Now, do I feel like Puff did it to himself? Absolutely, he did. I ain't got no sympathy for Puff. Also, like Chris Rock said 20 years ago, I looked at my mailbox, I didn't see no OJ prize. I don't see no Diddy prize either. On top of all of that, if I ask you who Mike Jeffries was, I'm willing to bet dollars to donuts most of you don't know who he is without a proper Google search. But while Mike Jeffries and his cohort was actually trafficking children, y'all were focused on Baby Oil and Cassie, who went to this man and extorted him and never called the police. I'm sick of y'all playing this game because this is weapons of mass distraction. Available in fine bookstores November 18th. But the thing I need you to understand is I don't care about Puff. I don't care about who he sleeps with. And Mike Jeffries is the CEO of Abercrombie and Fitch, who got out like 2 days after they arrested him. But y'all wouldn't know that because y'all keep worrying about what they tell you to be upset about, what you get told and conditioned to be outraged about. Just like in August, you'll be upset about Mike Brown like you were about Trayvon in February and George Floyd in May. You are suckers, you are saps, you are simps, you are silly to the game. And the biggest problem you have is looking you in the mirror, but you won't open your eyes to realize that this is all happening while things are not happening. Y'all get so worked up over whatever AOC tells you and whatever Kamala tells you, but you didn't stop to ask why they ran to pass that Stop Asian Hate bill. But still, that George Floyd Policing Act, it still ain't law. Because they know all they got to do is hit you with the nay-nay, put a couple rappers in your face, put Megan Thee Stallion in a blue pantsuit that's extremely tight, and get her to twerk for your votes, and you'll go out here and celebrate the fact that you're the 92% losers you are. Yeah. Anything else about Puff we want to talk about?
Well, I wanted to talk about the behavior, not necessarily Puff. The folks out there, you know, with the baby oil and like why is that even worth celebrating? You know what I'm saying? Like, I don't understand that.
Well,
go for it, Crystal.
I will say, Crystal Beyond Labels. We talk about everything truth, not trends. We focus on God's lens. That is straight debauchery. That is straight people that are possessed. They are possessed. They are so far from God and they don't even realize it. They're idolized. They idolize Diddy. They idolize the debauchery. This woman is out here with a blue wig. She's out here half naked. She is part of the Sexy Red and the Sukianas that we were talking about earlier. This is the problem that we are living in right now, and no one realizes that. And until we turn back to God, you will see a lot more and a lot worse, because this is the day of good is evil and evil is good. And I pray for these people because they are so lost. Watching, you are out there celebrating something that is sick and twisted. That's what you're celebrating. Sick and twisted. You are out there making jokes about baby oil and what it actually stands for. And people are sitting here enjoying it. No, I pray for all those lost souls because they are truly, truly lost.
Oh, you're muted, AT. I think you muted yourself.
Hey, sorry about that. I'm going to add on to this.
No worries.
Dave actually said something at the beginning of this conversation, and I want to kind of go back to it. He had mentioned Uncle Ruckus, and it's just apparent to me that this behavior, it's not really changed, right? This is the same stuff we've seen before when there's high-profile celebrities who go through trials, even if they're objectively wrong. We celebrate, and it's not the young lady. I think y'all hit her quite nicely. It's the people who were around her while she was doing it. They didn't stop her. Right? They didn't say, hey, here's a shirt, put something on. They celebrated it. They supported it. They whipped out their phones and they just enjoyed the experience. I want to read something to you. He had mentioned Uncle Ruckus before, right? Y'all remember the R. Kelly trial, right? There's a nice little quote that they have at the end of it. It's obviously satirical. I do recommend everyone gets some stock in bleach because I have to wash my eyes out after that nightmare fuel that Wise put in front of us without a warning. But there's something that's said here, right? I'm just going to change a couple of words. I don't like cursing. I'm not going to use the N-word, but the rest of it, this is coming from it. What the hell is wrong with you people? Every famous man that gets arrested is not Nelson Mandela. Maybe the government conspires to put a lot of black men in jail on fallacious charges, but Diddy is not one of those men. We all know he can sing, but what happened to standards? What happened to the bare minimum? You a fan of Diddy? You want to help Diddy? Get some counseling for Diddy. Introduce him to some older women, hide his camcorder, but don't pretend that the man is a hero. And stop the dang dancing. Act like you've got some sense, people, right? This is something that was from years ago that came out. And here we are, history repeating itself again because we refuse to learn as a community. We refuse to move on that and hold individuals accountable. That woman should be ashamed of herself, but here's the thing that gets me the most. It's not just the people around. she's going to go home and pat herself on the back. She's going to share that out with all her girlfriends and say, hey, look at my celebration. I'm going through the internet right now. I'm on those TikTok streets or social media. I'm going to be famous, right? Look at Diddy go. We can keep on celebrating and having our music, ignoring the fact that a new standard has now been set for the Black community of what we can do, get away with, and how we can complain about it, even if it's right or even if it's wrong. It's just really tragic to see something like that. I'm gonna get you back for that one, Wise, making me watch that.
The crazy thing is that video has 19 million views.
Oh my
19
goodness.
million views. Who's
Yes.
profiting off of this debauchery? You know what I'm saying? Who's making the bread off of this? 19 million views. That's a lot of money. For those of you guys that don't know, 19 million views, that's a lot off of this.
Why you got somebody on YouTube
it's
right now who's teaching people how to read off of a book, right? He probably got like 5 or 7 views. Teaching children how to read who don't have parents around. But you know what? If you wear a blue wig, if you are half naked and you dance around, you're famous.
That's it.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
Yeah,
And the
it's
comments,
crazy.
the comments that are under that, Wise, it's
Mm.
very interesting on some of the videos, the comments, because then it falls into, look, this is why Black people are the way they are, and you get all kinds of people saying things like that. So then, like Dave was saying earlier, they're not like us, but for some reason they think we're all like that because that is the face. That is the face of it. That is the behavior, and it's like, no, we are not all like that. Stop, and we need to stop celebrating that bad. Y'all know how I feel about celebrating bad behavior.
That part.
Well,
Let
I
me
think
jump
that
in.
what do you say? I think we have to reject it. You know, having these conversations like this, I think it's good. But what do you say to, you know, some of the Black folks out there that would say it's not right, but you shouldn't get out there and condemn that type of behavior? You know what I'm saying? Like we can't condemn that, you know, in front of anybody.
Yeah,
I
yeah, we
get
can.
called
That's
the
the
N.
Absolutely
I get
can.
called the
That's
N
the
with the heart
problem.
mark. Mhm.
That's the problem. This is that fake touch not mine anointed, do my prophets no harm misquote of scripture, but it's in blackface. It's used against us to say, Crystal, Wise, David, you can't call out Black folk. Yeah, you can, and you should, and say, I reject that. I reject celebrating Diddy, his debased life and not being held account for his debased life. Maybe the prosecution didn't have a good enough case, but that don't mean that he's not debased. And I reject it. I do not support it. I do not encourage it. I do not like green eggs and ham, and I don't give, and Sam, I am. So no, there needs to be said, and we need to say it. It doesn't need to be white people, Asian people, Hispanic people. It needs to be people that look like Diddy saying, nah, I'm not about that. I don't roll like that. We need to say it. So you can say that I can't say it. Enjoy yourself. I'm going to still say it, that Diddy's life is debased. It's not something to celebrate. Okay, fine. They had a shoddy case. Okay, whatever. But there's nothing to celebrate.
At all.
No.
Let me add to that if you don't mind, because I love the expression, right? You're not supposed to come out and condemn this. First of all, watch me. Second of all, most of the Black community identifies as being Christian, right? So show me in the Bible where it says you're supposed to shrug your shoulders and you're not supposed to correct those individuals inside the church. Show me in the Bible where it says you're not supposed to judge it. Before you come at me with judge not lest you be judged, read the entire thing and make sure we have comprehension of it.
That part.
We are supposed to make sure that we are aligning with our faith. And if you are coming out and behaving in this way, to Jason's point, all right, fine. Out of the, what was it, 5, I think, total charges, or 6, most of them were dropped besides 2. But what came out in that is there were still things, whether you want to try and say he had just a sexual life, he was a swinger, he can't be prosecuted for that. What does the Bible say? What scripture
Right.
say?
It's still biblically wrong.
Thank you.
Sure. Is humanly legal. Is biblically immoral. That's it.
Amen.
Can I
It's that
just
simple.
add? Can I just add? I love what Pastor Philip Anthony Mitchell said back a couple of weeks ago when he talked about, we walk around and say we're not. When people say something about bad behavior, people yell, "You're judging! You're judging! You're judging!" So people start getting quiet because they don't want to seem as they're judging, and then you give room for bad behavior to grow because now you're not allowed to say anything. If you, as a woman, I mean, you men as well, but me as a Black woman, say anything about that young lady, I am policing their bodies and there's something wrong with me and I am wrong for doing that. But when we don't say anything, this is exactly why they are running rampant in this way. This is why women don't understand how to honor the temple that God gave them. This is why they're out here in these streets just saying, I took back my sexuality, by giving it away for free now, which that's an oxymoron. You can't say I took back my sexuality, I took back the power and giving it away for free. That doesn't even make sense. So I think the problem is, again, people are not leaning into scripture. The older women, the wise women, are supposed to teach the young ones. And instead of sitting there and watching it and not saying anything, or hiding in the churches, or just sitting there quietly observing and judging, no, you call them out and say, that is not how you're supposed to be behaving. That is not a woman. That is not a Proverbs 31 woman, if you want to call it that. Whatever you want to call it, that is not how a woman's supposed to be behaving. Period. Point blank.
Why you got a comment down there? That's a really nice one. She says, being a woman, that's something that is given to you at birth, right? That's what you were born. But being a lady, that is a choice, right? I like that comment down there, in the comment section.
That's outstanding. Absolutely, and it is. It is. We're gonna keep it moving. I got one more thing I want to cover. Actually, I got two more things I want to cover, but one big one, and then there's something positive that I want to share. I mean, we've talked a lot of things, and maybe some of it may come across as somewhat negative. I want to read this super chat from Freeman's Network. $5 super chat says, when I say separation and delineation, I'm talking about total separation from white society and I'm guessing that's non-black Americans. Did any of you guys want to speak to that?
Friedman, if I had all day today, and if Wise had a tremendous amount of patience, I still would not have enough time to explain to you everything that's wrong with that thought process and that plan. I appreciate where you're coming from, but there's just a lot of holes in that logic.
Mm-hmm. And Freedom knows how I feel about every time they like to talk about non-black Americans. Stop, because if and I'm just going on the race side. If they decided that they were going to erase every black person in America, they're not stopping to ask if you are American, if you are Haitian, if you're African. And that is why the mentality is, when people from black people from other nations come in, that they come in and there's like a war between black people, when honestly the Hispanic people don't do that. The Asian people don't do that. They don't do that. I know you're looking like that, Dave, but they really don't. I watch Hispanic people right now. The Mexicans are being deported, and all of the Hispanic community are on the tail, sitting down here saying, y'all hate all of Latin America. No, what? Wait, what? No, we don't. What are y'all talking about? But they have taken up that cross because they feel like it's all of Hispanics. They're not sitting down and say, well, you're Hispanic American and you're Mexican and you're this. Again, people, that is why I wish people would get back to Christian values and understand we are followers of Christ, or you're not. That's just it. You're either followers of Christ or not. That's it, period, point blank. And let's stop at that and stop with this delineation that we like to talk about.
Did you want to speak to that, Dave?
Yeah, a couple of quick things. Number one, I do business globally. So for me, it's utterly ridiculous. However, I do think from a cultural standpoint, and we all have different cultures. Jewish people have a culture, different sections of Asian people have a culture. And there's nothing wrong with celebrating that culture, because that's part of what weaves the tapestry of America. And to act like that does not exist is absolutely crazy. To act like there is not a foundational Black American culture that all Black people throughout the diaspora benefit from is also crazy. But that does not mean that that's where you start and finish the conversation, and that's where you completely hang your hat. I can be culturally aware and still be a proud American. I think it's always America first, and then everything else falls, under that. The other part of that is, until we have culturally viable communities that are functioning from a foundational, reputational, educational, and police run standpoint that is controlled by that culture, we're always going to be behind the 8 ball a bit. And to me, there's nothing wrong with delineating, because I will tell you, go call a Costa Rican a Mexican and then tell me how they don't correct you. Go call a Dominican or Puerto Rican and tell me how they won't correct you. There is delineation, because I know plenty of Haitians, I know plenty of Jamaicans that have flags up in their bio on their Instagram, and nobody bats an eye. So delineation only becomes a problem when foundational Black Americans do it, but that does not mean you should not be America first. All of those things can be true at the same time, but I'm not going to pretend like we're all the same, because there is a distinct difference between people who have been here since before the founding of the country, genetically speaking, and those who have an immigrant experience. Because what language do the descendant of so-called enslaved people speak if it's not English? We have certain things that we don't have. We don't have a jollof rice, but we got fried chicken and collard greens. Like there are certain things that are culturally us that we can't necessarily run back, to Africa with. But again, delineation, yes, but it shouldn't be delineation from all people. But we do need to put up a cultural wall and control our communities. And that's where I draw the line.
Well, I mean, we wouldn't even need to have these conversations had we followed the blueprint of Booker T. Washington.
Yep.
Had we followed that, these conversations wouldn't need to be had.
Mm-hmm.
But unfortunately, we had a swath of people, those that are that bourgeois, swath of Negroes out there that still exist to this day. NAACP, Urban League,
yep.
And we can keep going, down that list of those types of people that don't want to see that happen.
That part.
And they're fighting against it right now. And you have a group of people that they make it their business to keep, a certain amount of people in that permanent underclass. And now that the liberals, have realized that, hey, the black folks aren't really where we thought they would always stay, because they are more in that middle class. They are growing, financially. They've moved on and said, hey, we got to get a new group of people that we can place under the thumb. And here comes, 30 million new people that they can say, hey, we're going to be the ones to save you now. You know what I'm saying? So, I mean, the reality of it is that had we followed those instructions, we wouldn't even be in this situation anyway. You know what I'm saying? And those of us that have followed it, we're actually doing okay. Those that do follow, Dave, you're one of those guys. You strike me as somebody that probably read, from Booker T. Washington, some others out there, and said, you know what, I'm going to follow that. I'm going to do that because it works. It makes sense and it works.
Yeah.
And the crazy thing is that Aaron says is that how many people are still right now fighting, to do and be a part of everything, that a lot of these, quote unquote, liberal white folks out here have going on. And they're fighting for all of their policies and they're fighting for all of their agendas.
But
now.
I have a question, Wise, because I hear what Dave is saying and I get what he's saying. But when I was speaking about Freedom Network, because we are way past that. We are way past that when you're talking about delineation. And I say that because we are a melting pot. America is a melting pot. My child, don't make that face, Dave. Because
no. I have the right to make whatever face I want.
No, you do, but I'm just saying, I am Black. I was born here in America.
Mm-hmm.
My parents are from Trinidad and Tobago.
Bingo.
Right? Wait, I'm not done. My daughter comes from me, but her father is a Black American, foundational Black American, mixed with Native. So what is she supposed to do? Is she supposed to walk around the place and be like, well, I don't fit in? And that is my problem, because it's always the let's try it. You need to be over here. You need to be over. America is such a big melting pot, even within the Black community. So when we start saying we need to delineate, we need to do this, we need to do this, you start to create a place of exclusion and separation. So we are in, and don't be rude about it, tether. Y'all are so disgusting with that term, tether. Because I still, regardless of me being born here and my family is from the islands, I still went through the Black experience here in America. So when you make that statement, it just sounds so ridiculous. Because do you think because my family's from the islands, I did not experience the Black experience? Do you think I didn't go through it? Do you think my grandfather who came here and had to work hard, you think he didn't have to go through that? Like, I just don't understand that mindset. So like I said, I remember being in middle school. And we had to do a project, Wise. We had to do a project. And when we were doing this project, you had to say where you're from. Like, what is your background? What is your makeup? And I remember there's white in my family. There is Asian in my family. There is Black in my family. And I put all of that down. There's Indian. And I remember sitting there and they did not want, like, people, it got weird where people were like, well, you're not Black enough, so you can't sit with us. You're not white enough, so you can't sit with us. It was very weird. And that's what I think of when I think about this foundational Black mindset, where someone like my daughter, where is she supposed to sit? Where is she supposed to sit? Because she does have foundational Black in her. She is Native. What is she supposed to do? Where is she supposed to sit? That doesn't make sense. We are so far gone past that. If this was back, like what you were saying, Wise, whatever Booker T back then, that's something different. But we are so far past that. We're in a melting
Well,
pot.
when I spoke on Booker T, and his thought process, and if you haven't read his book, I think you should definitely read it. Up from
Yeah,
Slavery,
truly.
phenomenal book. What I was
You
speaking
haven't
on
read it.
in reference to, if you haven't, what I was speaking on in reference to that was it was about gaining the proper skill sets, the proper trades to start businesses so that we as a group can do business no different than every other group of people do business. And if you create these types of organizations and we're able to provide services to everyone, because the reality of it is this: you start a business in America. Do you really want to be the business that only services 13% of the population, or do you want to be the business that services 100% of the population? Which one do you want to be? You know what I'm saying? So it really wasn't about, start a business and only serve your own kind. It would say, hey, we adapt and we will get the respect that we earn through the goods and services that we offer, and we will assimilate within the country in that manner. That was really what he was pushing, to where you had other folks that said, no, we shouldn't do that. That was W.E.B. Du Bois Group. And then, there had the NAACP Urban League and all those types. And they went a different route. And unfortunately, you had a lot of folks that chose to go that route. And we're still seeing that route play out in front of us today. That was the conversation. He wasn't really about a separation. He was about an assimilation through the services and the goods that we provide. Now, Dave mentioned it. Think about our culture and how much money is made off of our culture, but we benefit very, very little from it. You know what I'm saying? And Booker T was saying, hey, own it. Own that. You know what I'm saying? And assimilate in that manner. That's where it is. But if you hadn't read it, I definitely think that you should check it out.
I will read it. That's why I said I understand where Dave was coming from. I get what Dave was talking about. I was talking about that comment from the Freedom Network one. That was the comment I was talking about.
Got you. All right, couple super chats, then we're gonna move on. Go ahead, Dave.
I'll be brief because I want to answer her question, because I get this a lot from people, right? Well, where does my daughter fit? The same place the Obama daughters fit, because Obama is what you would classify as somebody who cosplays as a foundational Black American, but he is not. His daddy comes from Kenya. His mom is from Kansas. He grew up in Hawaii. He did not get his Black experience until he started canvassing in Chicago. And even still, he ain't do nothing for Black people. That's what tends to happen. Where does your daughter sit? Your daughter's exactly where she's supposed to be. She's standing at the intersection of two powerful Black lineages. Foundational Black Americans have a specific hard-earned cultural and historical experience tied to this land, this soil, this fight. Trinidad brings its own deep heritage, struggle, pride, and resistance. Your daughter carries both. She doesn't have to pick a side. She is the side. She's a full embodiment of the African diaspora. And instead of worrying about where she fits, the real mission is to teach her to honor both bloodlines and know her history from every angle and be confident enough to walk into any room, know where she belongs, period. Her identity is not a conflict, it's a crown. Now, having said that, I will say this, because I guarantee you that your grandfather, that your parents after him, and you still have a strong tie to your Trini culture, and there's absolutely nothing wrong with it. But the thing of it is, there is nothing wrong with me saying I'm a foundational Black American, and there's nothing wrong with me honoring my culture. But there are people who, and I will say this, I got money that says if I were to call your parents or your grandparents, if they're alive, that they had an immigrant experience, that doesn't mean that you didn't experience what it means to be Black in America once you're here, because most people are ignorant. The same way most Black people don't know the difference between a Chinese person and a Vietnamese person, but there are distinct cultural differences. I'm not going to act like there's not. And it's always cool.
And they hate on each other big time.
They hate on each other big time, because my father had a best friend named Quang Na, and the Vietnamese folks did not mess with the Chinese store owners at all, and vice versa. But I'm not going to sit up here and act as if I need to somehow shrink myself, or that there is a melting pot and what is effectively a salad bowl. This is a tapestry, and I'm not going to un-Matthew 5:15 myself in order to make you comfortable, because who you are is one thing and who I am is something different, even though the ignorant don't know the difference. I respect the fact that you have a Trini culture. I respect the fact you have a foundational Black American husband, and you have a child that is a child of both. But what I'm not going to do is act like there is not a distinct cultural difference between Black people throughout the diaspora and what it means to be a foundational Black American, because we had to figure it out, because none of you who did not start on this soil sent warships to come take us back home, period, point blank. And that's the full stop.
I mean, you're right, but we were also, but you do understand, Trinidad, they sent the people that could not behave in America, quote unquote, as slaves to the islands.
I get that. And the
They
same way
managed
we
them,
started a culture,
and
the same way we started a
they were
culture, the
slaves
same
over
way,
there.
the same way we started a culture
I
here,
agree with you.
is the
I'm
same
just
way we
telling you
started a
that
culture
we
there,
couldn't
and there
send, we
is a
couldn't send you a
difference.
boat. No, I'm just saying we couldn't send you a boat because slavery
Exactly.
was real
But
bad
here's
over
the
there
thing.
too. So
I'm not sitting up here telling Trinis how to behave. I'm
well,
not
that's
telling
what I'm
Trinis
saying.
how to feel.
I agree.
Period, point
I would
blank.
never tell
So
a
don't no,
foundation
no. So
Black house
then
to behave either.
when people who do not come from this culture, and I'm not saying that this is you, but just to have the full conversation, when people who do not come from this culture but benefit from the backs of what my people did, come over here and tell us how we need to behave, that is problematic and disrespectful, period, point blank, because without us, you would not be able to come over here and act like us and benefit from what we brought to this table and the things that we did. And Booker T. Washington in his day was called a bootlicker, and Booker T. Washington in his day was called a sellout, and Booker T. Washington in his day was called all types of everything but a child of God. But he was right, and the evidence is with what the culture has now become. And the fact that you haven't read up from slavery only proves my point. I suggest you highly suggest that you read it and understand how important it is for us to take care of ourselves. That's it.
Dave, you have no arguments for me, but mind you, in the comments, I'm being called tether every 5 seconds, which is literally the N with the hard R. That is a slur, sir.
It is not.
It is a slur.
No,
they're not saying it in the, listen, they're not saying it in the kind way like, you know, she is from. No. That is a slur, sir.
But let me explain where it comes from. Right?
Somebody help me out here, because I'm not hip with it.
I got you. I'm about to break down, but I got to address what's on the table right now, real quick. So the first thing I will say, when Cynthia Erivo comes over here and plays Harriet Tubman and acts like she's somehow the predecessor to Professor Xavier on the X-Men, and then talks about how Black people ain't no good. When you have shows like Bob Hart's Abby Shola, where they talk about baby mama culture and keeping it real and hood stuff, while they're benefiting off of clowning us on our own soil. When you have people like Akon sit up here and say that the best performers are African, but he begged to get on Michael Jackson's Thriller remix album, yeah, that's problematic, because what you're doing is you're attaching yourself to a culture while not being a part of that culture from a lineage and respect perspective. That's what that means. You are tethering yourself to something that you did not experience. That's what that is. And when you start I don't dip myself in the Trini business. I don't dip myself in Jamaican business. I don't dip myself into the debate as to whether or not Nigerian Jollof or Ghanaian Jollof is best. I stay in my foundational Black American lane when it comes to being Black, because that's not my affair. But everybody else throughout the diaspora wants to tell Black people how to behave while cosplaying and benefiting financially, culturally, and from all of the things that Black Americans had to fight till and die for, while telling us why we're wrong. So yeah, that's where the term tether comes from. And I don't mean that maliciously. They might in the chat, but yeah, at the end of the day, you do have to understand that what you're doing right now is coming across as if somehow you don't like the delineation when foundational Black Americans do it, but you had no problem saying that you were Trini.
No, I don't have a problem with the foundational Black Americans. I said, and I quote, that's why I said, Dave, I do not disagree with it. I literally said, because I understood what you said about the fried chicken and the jollof rice. Yes, correct. You should have your own culture. I'm not taking away from, I said what he said, what Aaron said was a problem. You took it like I was talking to you. I was talking to him because Wise put up his comment and I was responding to his comment.
I know you weren't talking to me, but again, I'm having the conversation for the folks who did not understand.
I'm not going to talk about foundational Black. I'm not going to tell you guys what to do, how to run your culture, and none of the other things. I said, after a while, when there's this conversation, when people like my daughter and people will look at her, well, you're not fully this, you're not fully that. There starts to be an exclusion. Have those conversations happen? Yes, for her. That's what I'm saying. So it again, you make someone feel like that. And that's why I said initially, either you walk with Christ or you don't walk with Christ. Again, that's what God called for us. You're either with him or you're not with him. All these other intricacies, okay, that's cool. But either you're with Christ or you're not with Christ. That is the lane that I live on. I'm not going to tell anybody about a Trinity experience because I don't even know a Trinity experience. I was born here. If I go to my parent, when I growing up, if I said I was Trinity American, my grandmother would tell me, "No, you're not. You're American.
You're American.
Do you,
because it pays to assimilate.
You see? So I don't. So are you picking up what I'm putting down? You don't fit in anywhere.
Yes, you do. You choose to not. You choose to not fit in because it's not what you're called. It's what you answer to. And the other part of that is you said, I got a foundational Black American husband. I got a daughter because my parents are Trini. My grandparents migrated to this country. Where does she fit in? She fits in wherever she wants to.
Dave,
and
pause. I need to correct you. I'm sorry. Sure. I am not married, so let's just yeah.
My bad. You procreated with a foundational Black American man. Yes. I apologize. I thought you were married. Different conversation. The point is still, where does she fit in? She doesn't have to fit in anywhere. If you're not the loudest voice in your child's heart, you have already lost the race. Period. Point blank. Then it shouldn't matter what anybody else is saying.
Let's keep it moving. Shout out to Crypt Keeper Chuck with the $5 super chat says, and God said, husbands, honor thy wives, and wives, honor thy husbands. All others are forsaken. All have fallen and come short of the glory of God. Thank you very much, brother. And you're absolutely right there with the $5 super chat. Shout out to Eric with the $10 super chat says, congratulations to my Black landlord who has a concrete construction company for 30 years, owns several properties, and just bought himself the new Corvette. And yes, Aaron, he's FBA. Shout out to you, Eric. Appreciate that, brother. I'll make sure I didn't miss anybody. All right. Excuse me. Shout out to Mark Herrera with the $2 super chat says, there is no pecking order with Jesus. I would agree with that as well. Shout out to Amethyst Angel with the $5 super chat says, what's so sad is that the people to whom you're recommending books can't even read, much less comprehend the contents. Okay.
That's why I created the comic book and the audio book just for that.
You come with the smoke. Yeah. Well, and just so you know, the Booker T. Washington book, Up from Slavery, you can get the audio version. It is there. It does exist. It's on Audible. You can get the audio version. Shout out to LJ Taylor with the $2 super chat says, idolizing your Blackness won't get you into heaven. I definitely agree with that. I think that's a lot of our issues. We have entirely too many people idolizing the wrong things. Aaron with the Freeman's Network $5 super chat says, over 60 seats on the Congressional Black Caucus and only 13 are Black, and them tethers fight tooth and nail against us. I think the CBC is probably one of the most worthless I guess entities within Congress.
You're not ready for that,
honestly, they're more pro alphabet community than anything else. Let's just keep it a buck.
But Wise, real quick, I got a question. Why is it when you look at the Congressional Asian and Pacific Islander Caucus, when you look at the Congressional Hispanic Caucus, their mission statements right now, go to their websites. I got money on it. Go to their websites. Their mission statements say, and I'm paraphrasing, our mission is to secure the promise of America for Hispanic people. Our promise is to secure the promise of America for Asian people. Then you go to the Congressional Black Caucus, which is a nothing burger with extra cheese. And they say, well, our mission is to help marginalized people everywhere.
Yep. Yeah.
See, everybody
use
else
marginalized. Yeah. Yeah. But Dave, that goes back to, what's his name? Manny Johnson's pamphlet, initial pamphlet or book, Color Communism. It goes right back to it. It goes right back to that. You know what I'm saying? And this is NAACP. This is Urban League. This is your Greek sororities, fraternities. You know, no offense to any of you guys that are a part of that. No offense to any of you guys, but this is what they're pushing. You know what I'm saying? They're more pro alphabet community. And some other things. I mean, you got these folks out here fighting for Hamas and fighting for, Palestine and all this other kind of stuff. They're fighting for everything. You know what I'm saying? But whatever. I want to move on. Last subject. And then I got one actual, positive thing that I came across on X. But the other day, it was a huge win for women everywhere. I know you got, I don't know if you guys had a chance to see it, but University of Pennsylvania, this is right up your alley, Dave. University of Pennsylvania, they issued an apology and a ban all men from women's sports. Amen. I want to talk about this. The university will also strip William Thomas, we're not going to call that dude Leah, William Thomas, and other men from any titles that they won in women's sports.
Right.
And all records are going to go back to the original record holder prior to it being broken by a man cosplaying as a woman.
That part.
Is this a net positive or net negative for the country?
Extremely
This is a positive for female sports, man. As a dad of girls, this is a look. You don't have to like 47. Okay, fine, whatever.
Cool.
Don't like them, but you cannot. If you are a woman or you care about your girls, come on, man. And I hope they go ahead and start removing them from other areas as well. These gentlemen, these dudes pretending like they're chicks. Come on, man. Like, come on. No. So shout out to them. I'm glad. Hey, I'm glad. Shout out to Penn doing the right thing. I'm praying that the other ones do as well. It should never have gotten this far. But see, this has been a psyop of rejecting observable reality.
Okay, I got a question. I got a question for you, Jason, AT, Dave, Crystal. If Kamala Harris wins the race in November, does UPenn get out there with this same apology?
No, absolutely not.
No.
Oh, you mean if she had one? If she had one,
she won. Yeah.
It would have never got here. We'd have never got here in the first place.
No.
It would never been under the scrutiny. I mean, this is a byproduct. To answer your question, yes, I voted for this.
Exactly.
Okay. So no, I voted for this. This is exactly 100% what I voted for. I'm waiting for my invitation to go check out Alligator Alcatraz and do a live stream from there. I voted for this. So let's go, Crystal, road trip. My point is this is the right thing. This is the right thing for little girls to compete in sport against other little girls. And women should compete against women. I'm really surprised it didn't get to the WNBA, but I think they need to go ahead and they're gonna finally admit what we all know about. Never mind. They're gonna finally admit what we already know. Say again.
Oh, we all know. You trust me.
Yeah, we all know. We all know that that's a dude, but they're gonna finally admit it. It's gonna come out, and then. But my point is, this is the right thing for women. So if you want to say that we're misogynistic and we hate women, I'm fighting for y'all. I'm wondering, do y'all care for women? If you want men to compete against women in women's combat sport, and biological men are saying, no, that's not right. Who's the one that hates women?
The women.
I'll wait.
That part.
I'm sorry, the 92%ers. I'm sorry, the 92 women.
92ers gone somewhere. Gone down the street.
I'm proud to be an 8%er because this is what I voted for. Listen. I voted for there are only 2 genders. That's it. That's it. You are not allowed to come into my bathroom. Absolutely. You're not allowed to be in my sauna. You're not allowed to be in my spa. You are not allowed to be in my sports. Period, point blank. And since Kamala did not understand it, I am proud to be an 8%er.
Yeah.
Go ahead, Dave.
Okay. I'll be very brief. William Thomas, aka Leah Thomas, was 554th among men's college swimmers. After the so-called alleged transition, that person ranked 5th among women. Now, when you look at the 500 free ranking, before the transition, was 65th among men, now ranked number 1 or first amongst women. See, here's the thing. If everything was so equal and all you have to do is identify as whatever it is, and this is not a diss, I'm dealing in facts, then you have to explain to me where in the world is the trans male NFL quarterback prospect with the rocket arm? Where is the trans male that has LeBron shaking in his boots? Where is the trans male that is ready to knock out a Floyd Mayweather or an Iron Mike Tyson? And I know Tyson's old and I know Mayweather's retired, but I figured I'd keep the bar reasonable. This is the most misogynistic, this is the most disrespectful, this is the most anti-woman thing I have ever seen in my life. And I got to double down on what my good brother said. The other part that we don't talk about is they are stripping the word women away from women. They have called you lactating person. They have called you birthing person, and you have allowed it because you want to be inclusive. This is the same game they ran on you, which is why you don't control the hair care industry anymore. This is the same game they ran on you when they told you that you shouldn't be married, that you need to get out here into the workforce. This is a psyop backed by the same folks that bought you feminism and welfare queens and all of this other nonsensical babbage BS that you continue to fall for. And when we say something, you say, well, everybody matters. They hijacked rainbows. I can't get my kid a Rainbow Dash My Little Pony without having a very uncomfortable conversation. Immediately, no. I am against everything that comes to men and women's sports, and I don't like Donald Trump for a lot of things, but on that one, I applaud him. I think what he's doing is big. It's absolutely awesome. Wonderful. Great job. Keep it up.
Hey, Dave. Hey, Dave. I'm with Bishop Patrick L. Wooden, and we're taking the rainbow back, bro. We're taking it back. I'm with Bishop Wooden, man. We're taking it back. It's not theirs. We're taking it back. But get in there, AT. I know you had something you want to add.
I don't get a chance to really talk as freely because of the platform I usually lose, but this is what we're talking about this week, just the ideology associated with it. So I might say something that might hurt some feelings, and truthfully, I don't care because I care about your salvation more than I do about your sensitivity. If you are someone who in one hand says that you believe in God, that you believe in the Bible, that you are a Christian, you follow Christ, and you don't view this as anything less than the 100% win that this is for our nation and for just sanity, then you need to sit back down and read that book over again and make sure you're taking what it says and not what you want it to say. I think you all hit the biggest issue I have with this. The one thing I'll push back, Jason, is I don't give you Penn any credit for this. I'm way too strict. Should not have been a problem in the first place. Never should have allowed this to happen. If I have a little girl, right, we'll see what happens. We're not finding out until the day they're born. But if I have a little girl and she spends her entire life, that's what it takes to get to that high in the NCAA, her entire life training, her entire life having those wins, those losses, those setbacks, and those advancements. And she gets to the peak, the absolute peak short of the Olympics when it comes to her event, and she is prepared, right? She may be the number 1 seed, number 5, but she's ready for that event. And then I have somebody who says, not biologically, not by DNA, not by creation, but just, I feel like it. I just feel like I want to be a woman today. And I don't care that it makes the individuals around me uncomfortable. I don't care that it completely turns the industry on its head. I don't care that that little girl is going to be crying for the 5-year-old who had a dream one day that's now shattered, not because of reality, but because of somebody's decision. And then a large part of the country ostracizes the individuals who disagree with it. This is twisted at the highest order. This is something that I agree-wise would not have happened had Vice President Harris become the president. I can't get too much into politics because of my job, but I will very much say your vote does matter. For the believers out there who are saying, I just don't like Trump. Just like Dave said, I don't care if you like him, right? Your vote would have gone towards advancing these things. And it's not just William Thomas that wouldn't have gotten overturned, right? Look at everything else going on in the nation and then ask yourself which one matters more, right? Your personal feelings, your desire to not make people uncomfortable. I just don't want to say it. Let them do whatever it is that they want to do. Then you have no conviction. You have no spine. You stand for nothing. You will fall for everything. And you are the reason why this country is going the direction that it is. I don't care if it's an uncomfortable conversation. I really don't. I don't care if it hurts somebody's feelings. Stand for something, or please get out of the way for the rest of us who are actually trying to be steadfast for our faith and look out for the young ladies, because the disrespect towards women is wild. You'll get upset if someone beats a woman. Okay, I'm with you. You'll get upset if someone sexually assaults a woman. Okay, I'm with you. You don't care at all whatsoever if women are comfortable. You don't care at all whatsoever if women are respected. You don't care about the beauty of femininity. You don't care about the beauty and the power that comes with being a woman, being a mother, being able to carry a child, and everything that's associated with that absolute gift of creation of being a woman. You don't care about that at all whatsoever. And I'll hear your argument otherwise. You're still going to be wrong.
I want to before you guys go, and we're going to move on to the next thing. And you guys fleshed that out, man. It was phenomenal. We do have a black man hating sister in the chat. I'm not going. I'm not going to call her out her name or anything along those lines. But it sounds like she wants a little bit of attention. So we're going to give her a little bit of attention.
Come on.
This particular woman here, Lady D, she says black men voted against Kamala Harris because she was going to help people become first-time homeowners. They didn't want that responsibility. I wholeheartedly reject that statement there, wholeheartedly. But
Out the
if
window.
Dave, Jason, if you want to go in there, I'll go. I'll get on it here in a second. But either one of you guys want to take that, go for it.
Jason, I'm gonna let you
Come
go
on.
first, bro. Please.
Lady D, come on up here to the Friends of Church, baby. Come on up here. Come on, sit up here by. Come on up here and sit by the Nurses Guild, baby. Listen to what you wrote. Believe that up here on the screen. I'm worried about people becoming homeowners. Really? That's what we're worrying about.
Yeah.
That's what, when gas prices were on doggone summa cum laude levels, eggs was $12 for a dozen. That's what we was worried about, people becoming homeowners. So that's why we voted against her. Ma'am, please go have a seat. I told you sit down and listen to the sermon. Sit yourself down. Ma'am, please stop it. Stop it. If you wanted to vote for Kamala the cosplaying chameleon, then that's your choice and your decision. Live with it. Embrace it. But baby, don't just assume that we didn't vote for her because we didn't want people to be homeowners. Did you read what you wrote before you hit enter and put the little angry faces? Because I don't think you did. My name is Jason. DearWokeC@gmail.com. You're welcome to come on over and email management. We can have a conversation about this, but sit down. I done said sit down and listen to the sermon. We can have this conversation, my friend, but please don't sit there and just make these ignorant, tacit, and then to say the black men, because now we're gonna get into another realm, and I'm gonna tap Dave.
Okay.
We're gonna do like tag team sermon. I'm gonna tap Dave in a second and let him talk about black men didn't vote for Kamala. Don't sit there and try to divide us apart as if y'all made a good decision. Because please let's have that conversation. Y'all ain't known for making really good decisions. So please go sit yourself down. Dave?
Yes, sir.
Have at it, sir.
I do appreciate the fact that you have yielded the floor to me. The first thing I want to say is here's the difference between me and a lot of you knuckle-dragging, mouth-breathing, slack-jawed North American big backs who come with this energy. The first point is, in 2020, when Senator Kamala Harris was running for president and she didn't even make it to Iowa, where was all this sisterhood then? Where was all the black girl magic then? Because unlike you, I donated to her campaign because I liked what she was saying at the time, because she stood and said she was going to do this for black people. She's going to do that for black people. And then when she realized she couldn't win on that, she dropped out. And the main reason she said she dropped out was because she wasn't getting financially supported by you people who like to bump your gums more than you like to move your money. The other part of that is, when she was vice president of these United States, what did she do to help people become homeowners? She said on day one she was going to do this. Day one started on January 20th, 2021. Where was old Kami Boo? Where was she? I'm sorry, where was Kamala M. Hoff? I'm sorry, y'all can't call her that. Because y'all the same people who say, oh, well, these people are married to white women, so they hate black people. But when the black woman was married to a white man, y'all seem to just gloss over that. Then the other part of that is, black men, still, the majority of black men voted for this woman, which is voting against their own interests, which is exactly what you did. So black men weren't the problem. The problem was that map looked like a CSI level crime scene. It bled red all over the place because they didn't listen. By the way, your vice president sat on The View and was asked a very simple softball question. What would you do differently than what Joe Biden did? And she says, I can't think of one thing. No, everything is great. She also said that we've been to the border, and Lester Holt said, have you been to the border? Well, I haven't been to Europe either. She played in your face, because if she was going to do something, you were in the Oval. The president of the United States, Joe Biden, when he was the president, he said there wasn't a decision that I did not run by her that she did not co-sign. So were we talking about day one? So yeah, no, stop trying to say all this stuff, and you can call us chocolate covered demons. I'm still trying to see what you're doing for black people, other than, licking your wounds and having sour grapes, because whether you like Donald Trump or you don't like Donald Trump, he's the president. My question to you is, who's your city council person? Who's in charge of your school board? Who's your alderman? Hell, name me your dog catcher. And until you can do all of that, I'm gonna need you to pipe down with the nonsensical BS rhetoric that has absolutely no basis in fact. Thanks for coming to my TED Talk.
And I just
Wise,
want
do
to
you
say
mind?
thank you
Go
to
ahead, Kristen.
all the 20, I think it was 28% of Black men. Thank you very much for using common sense. I appreciate it because now we're back to having two genders. And Lady D, bless your heart in the most southern way, my dear, in the most southern way.
Wise, can
In
I
the
add on
most
to this for
southern
Lady D, if
way.
you don't mind?
Yep. Yeah, go for it. Go for it.
I can't get political, Harris versus Trump, but I can talk about facts. It's always disappointing when people make claims like that, because my immediate question is, have you talked to a lot of Black men who did not vote for Harris? Where are you getting that information from? Because I've not heard that coming across it. For the individuals up here, I've heard nothing coming out of their mouths that even leans towards that direction. Where are you getting your sources, right? Because it's easy to just say, well, I heard this somewhere. This is what the news said, or this is the conclusion that I wind up getting to. But the fact of the matter is, and this is not advocating for any president, or I'm just going to give you some facts. If you want to talk about Black America, you know, the poverty rate for Black America hit an all-time low in 2019, right? We got down to another low in 2022. That's fine, right? But prior to 2019, I'll let you figure out who was in office then. It was over 20%, and it got down to 18%. Okay, if that's not enough for you, fine. Let's talk about education, high school education graduation rates, right? For the Black community and only the Black community. We got to another record in 2019 and going to 2020. That's from the AGR data. And by the way, for the Black ownership thing, in regards to houses, we have historically been settling somewhere between the low end of 44% of our community up to about 47% for every single president. It doesn't matter if they're left, it doesn't matter if they're right. So the data does not support the claim that you have right now. And I would even say, with three other Black men up here and a Black sister as well, that the empirical information in front of you right now simply does not support that claim. If we're going to say that all of a group did something for some reason, it's going to always come across as an emotional outburst if you do not have factual information to support that. Not what some talking head is saying, not what some news station is saying, but factual. If you have an actual research report done, statistical analysis going out to an actual sample size of Black and only Black men who voted against Vice President Harris for the election, and they all have come out and said, you know what? This is one of the reasons why we didn't do it specifically. Go ahead and drop that down there. I would love to read that. If not, I will call your claim fallacious, emotionally driven, and perhaps you need to actually sit down and read into the information so you fully understand what's going on in the world around you. Because today's points, I don't really entertain a lot of people who say, well, you voted for this reason, that's hateful. Because if you cannot tell me who let's go with something easy, governor of your state is, just one of your House representatives, one of your senators, your mayor, or any of the local initiatives that are being put out in the next couple of years for your area, then you are not quite informed enough yet to say in front of hundreds of people a claim like that. But on the bright side, you got some attention. I think that's what you were going for. Unfortunately, it probably isn't the attention that you were looking for. Thank you, man.
Poor baby. Bless her
Yeah,
heart. I like
absolutely.
it.
She got the attention that
Way.
she wanted. But my question to you guys and my question to those in the chat are, first off, are we not Americans? And second off, are we not allowed to have our own political autonomy? Are we not allowed to choose what we want based off of our beliefs?
No.
I mean, the last time I checked, I have the ability to think critically for myself. The last time I checked, are we not allowed to do that? Are we not allowed?
No, we're part of a group, right? We have to be a categorization. That's all that it is.
You cannot do that, Wise. This is the same thing with, you can't separate the north of I-20 and the south of I-20. This is the same thing. Like you gotta walk lockstep with the least of us. You can't do that. You cannot look at a political candidate and say, is this candidate good for the Wise household? Is this candidate good for the Dear Woke household? Is this candidate going to do the right thing for Dave or Crystal's household? You can't do that. You got to say, what all y'all doing? Let me see your paper. Okay, then that's what I'm gonna put on there. AT might not even be paying attention.
No,
He might have put the wrong answer on the paper, but we all following at the AT. Or AT is voting what's good for his family.
Mm-hmm.
His family's different than mine
Oh.
and yours, Wise and Chris. So no, there are different needs, and that's such a low. Shout out to Lady D. God bless you. I hope you stay seated up here for Sunday school, up here in the front row, and pay attention, because what you're saying is such a low bar. There's no way you can sit there and pretend like you know what's good for all of us on this screen.
At all.
Absolutely.
The only thing that's good for us at the moment you can say is air. We can guarantee that air is good for all five of us. That's about all we got.
Water.
Water. Okay, that's
Food
fine.
every once in a while.
Yeah, water's good. This coffee's kind of hot. This coffee was kind of hidden today, though. But besides that, though, we can always knuckle it out about everything else. Go ahead, man.
No, but
Yeah, and the thing is that when you look at the policies, we're just comparing. I mean, this is the first time, at least in my adult life, that we've been able to compare apples to apples, right? This is the first time that we've got a chance to really see and compare administration to administration, at least in my, adult voting, lifetime, right? We've never got an opportunity to do it. So when you look at how things were during the Trump administration, the first one, and then we look at what we were living in, over those 4 years, the quality of life had dropped dramatically, during that time frame. I mean, let's just keep it real. But even pushing it a little further and just looking at it as a through the lens of a follower of Christ, you had one candidate that is saying that, hey, I'm looking at this pregnancy termination situation, and I'm either not with it or there has to be some restrictions around it, right? And you have another candidate that says, hey, we're with pregnancy termination with no restrictions to the 9th month, and in some cases after the fact. I'm not with that. We look at a candidate that's pushing everything alphabet community. One of the first group of people that she went to go meet with when she announced she was on RuPaul's drag show. You know what I'm saying? That was the first play that she went. You know what I'm saying? And I'm like, okay, I'm not with that either. And we could go down the list, those are only two policies or two things that she kind of really hung her hat on, for real. And then I'm looking at it as I don't have daughters, but I have a niece, I have a multitude of nieces, and I would hope, Lord willing, that, I have maybe some granddaughters in the near future, and I'm like, okay, who's the candidate that's more in line of protecting, my nieces, my future potential granddaughters, my cousins, who's more inclined to protect them, to push policies to protect them? The other thing, who is against open borders that directly affect us all, and especially, when they've allowed these people to come over and now we're competing amongst people, for these opportunities in this country, lowering wages, undercutting businesses, small business. Now we say we want generational wealth, but then we allow 30 million people to come over here, and siphon that wealth away from us. So, I mean, like, what are we doing? Like, what are we talking about? And again, I go back to my initial statement is, do I not have the ability to think for myself?
Why?
Can I not?
Bro, I keep trying to tell you. No, you can't. Don't you remember when Sleepy Joe was in his basement and he talked to my good friend Charlemagne and he said, hey, if you're having a hard time trying to decide between me and who am I running? Trump, you ain't black. And everybody was like, oh, that's so offensive. And then y'all went right along with it and fell right on lockstep. And y'all didn't look at Joe Biden's record, which is the most problematic. I'm still trying to find. And again, this is not me defending Donald Trump more than it is talking about facts. Show me the policy that Donald Trump enacted or signed into law that was worse than what Joseph Robinette Biden was doing to black people for 51 years. There is none. I think you need to go down to the basement and go get Joe, wake him up at 4:30 in the afternoon and just tell him to close the border. That's all you have to do. Stop with this nonsense, because you don't even know Kamala's record. She sat up there with a man who was dressed as a woman. I don't know if they had the surgery or not. I don't get all the distinctions. And again, I had a problem in 3rd grade with pronouns, but she said, I made sure that those of us in prison were able to get access to the care that they needed. So chopping off wieners is care, but we got plenty of uninsured and underinsured people, Americans, veterans who have fought and bled and died for this country that don't have benefits. But we got time to make people who think that the best record of all time is Sylvester's You Make Me Feel Mighty Real and take care of them in prison so that they can go get diddled. Surely you jest. Boo-boo, your priorities are backwards, if not upside down. Good night, everybody.
They are. Well, and the other thing, too, is like when you look at her history, you look at her history, just go do a little research. Go look at her history out in California. You know what I'm saying? Like what are we talking about here? Like, I mean, like, what are we talking about? We're talking about a person that was locking people up, locked plenty of brothers up. Talk about she smoked weed, but locked plenty of her brothers up for small amounts of weed. Kept them locked up so they could fight these fires for free. You know what I'm saying? Like, what are we talking about?
Wise.
What are we talking about?
Wise.
Did you read it? Go ahead, Crystal.
Lady D likes Bill Clinton with his blue dress and red shoes, apparently. and
I think
she
she's a
wants to
troll at this
she
point.
wants to free
I think so
Diddy.
too.
So all we can say is bless her heart in the most southern way. That's all we got.
That's
Yeah,
it.
to say that
Yeah,
you don't have a
yeah.
history of thinking for yourselves, you don't even know Wise, unless this is your friend Wise, unless this person has known you for decades and knows your family. To say that you don't have a history of thinking for yourself, we speak the name of Jesus over you, ma'am. Hopefully you find your way.
I'm gonna plead the blood.
Yeah. That's it, man.
Crazy-
Goodness
crazy
gracious.
stuff.
With that being said, we're going to get out of here, but I wanted to share this
Absolutely.
with you guys real fast because this was something positive that I ran across on X, and it kind of goes against, actually, I'm going to say kind of, it definitely goes against a lot of the things that, Lady D was discussing. You know, she obviously is a black man hating sister, obviously. That's pretty obvious, just in her correspondence here within the chat. But I want to share this right here. In Chicago, they had a daddy stroll walk. And they had a lot of brothers pull up with their children in Chicago. I want to share this, guys, with you guys. We're going to end on this note right here, just because there's some, we talked about, a lot of good things. There's some negativity out there, but there's some positivity going on in the world. When it comes to us, as black men in this country, we're not what a lot of folks would portray us to be. But I want to share this with you guys. I don't know if you guys had a chance to see it, but it was phenomenal.
Yo, I'm Ad 2, and I'm the father of Ace and Daniels.
I'm Mike Kell, and I'm a father to Ocean.
Courtney Davis, and I'm the father of Mia Davis.
Big Twan, man. This is Mila. This is Antoine Jr.
I'm Rendell, and with my daughter Savannah.
I'm Vic, I'm here with V3, Victor III. Excited to be out here at the Daddy Stroll.
Miles, I'm here with Maddox. This is my son. Ready for the Daddy Stroll today.
My name is Brendan Hall. I'm Elijah, and he's 2 years old.
I'm Jabari, father of 2. Amory and Amara.
My name is AJ Ames. This is Jackson right here. He's 1 year old, and I got a 3-year-old, Jace, right here.
My name is Kyle, and I'm a father to Nadia, Amira, and my son Carson.
Hi, kids.
I knew you. Look. You did it. Yay.
That's really cool, man. That's
Hey,
really
let
cool.
me.
That's beautiful.
Hey, Wise, I'm dropping the link. That's actually an organization that puts those on, and I think this is their link. That's called the Daddy Stroll Social Club, and I just won't allow me to. Some reason or other won't let me drop a link. Why does your channel do this to me, man? I'm gonna put it in the private chat, and you can share.
Okay.
Anyway, it's an organization that does that. So make dads hanging out with their kids normal again. Absolutely.
I put the link down there for you. Y'all see me in the comment section. DaddyStrollSocialClub.com is what he's talking about. It's in the comment section.
Okay.
I love
some reason
that.
I'm being discriminated again.
I love that.
That was
because
phenomenal, man.
I have to say, listen, I don't care what nobody says. Black men are amazing fathers. All men are amazing fathers. But seeing a lot of times black men get a lot of heat, like they don't want to do for their children. They don't care for their children. And I can't say I've ever experienced that. I've never experienced that in my own life amongst friends around me. I've never seen that. So I never like to fall into that stereotype. And like I say in my Bible study, sometimes women, we may be the problem, and we need to take accountability that we're the problem, and we cause that, where sometimes black men can't be involved with their children, and we need to own it instead of continually blaming black men for not being involved in their children's lives.
Yeah, that was phenomenal, man. I personally, as a father, been there, been a part of everything. Like I told you, AT. And congratulations to you and your wife. Your life isn't yours, until they become adults. It's about what they have going on, their extracurriculars, their homework. It's about them. Yep. You know what I'm saying? You kind of you build your life around what they have going on. And that includes the vacations, that includes everything, that includes what you have going on. And in my situation, my wife hadn't had a job in over 15 years. You know what I'm saying? Because I wanted someone home when my children got off the school bus. You know what I'm saying? I was a latchkey kid. I wanted to do things differently than, you know, how I was raised. You know, they say, what's that old phrase? You take the meat and you spit out the bones. So there were some things about my upbringing that I did appreciate. There were some things that I didn't appreciate. And especially as a kid that kind of was pretty mischievous and got themselves in some trouble and things of that nature. And a lot of it had to do with the fact that I knew my parents wasn't going to get me. Well, my pops was a truck driver. My stepfather, he was a truck driver. So he wasn't home, you know, for 4 or 5 days at a time. But my mom, you know, wouldn't get off of work. And we knew we had it down to a science. When we need to get home and when we need to get those chores done before she would pull up 6:30 when we had been out of school since 3. You know what I'm saying? And I knew the type of foolishness that I got myself into. And I wanted to make sure that my kids didn't have the ability to do those things. So on purpose, man, we tightened up. You know, now we didn't have all the things that we probably could have had. I didn't have all the cars and all that other kind of stuff that I probably could have had, but I don't regret it because my kids grew up not skipping school. They did very well in school. You know, extracurricular activities were always on point, and it wasn't just sports. There were other things that we got them into, playing instruments and so forth and so on. Got them into computers and you know, getting them into STEM and tech, introducing them to those things. And that's important. That's important. And you find out, you know, we get a bad rap as Black men. We get a bad rap, but I know I coach football, I coach basketball, soccer, baseball. I coached it all with my children, both of them. And I seen other dads out there. You'd be surprised how many other Black men out there coaching their kids, girls and boys sports, you know, don't know anything about the sport, but I'm about to study up and learn. And I'm going to be there. I'm going to be a part of this. You know, it's important, man.
Mm-hmm.
But I wanted to showcase that, man. I wanted people to see that there's some positivity going on out there in the world, man. I wanted to plug that.
You know, that almost makes up for the blue hair picture earlier on, Wise. It really does.
I love
it. We got a couple super chats I want to read, and then I'll give you, we're going to get ready to sign off. I'll give you guys the last word. Shout out to Amethyst Angel with the $5 super chat. Says, I'm Black Pill. Audible books are great, but the lexicon of the times goes over the heads of Gen Z and elder alphas. I'm not sure what that means. Elder alphas.
Generation Alpha, the older end of the alpha.
Generation. Okay, got you. Okay. I'm off on that one. All right. Who needs the information most? I would agree with that. I mean, I think we had talked about this, Dave. Most people are reading on what, about a 5th or 6th grade level. Yeah. And unfortunately, the books, or fortunately, more or less, I won't say unfortunately, the books written back in the day, they were just written at a much higher grade level than the books are today. But that's why they got these phones, and that's why they got this thing called dictionary. So if you do run across a word that you don't understand, go look it up real fast. It won't take you long. Go look it up, and you'll get that understanding, and you can move on. It's all good. Shout out to Freeman's Network with the $5 super chat. Says, Crystal, your daughter is part foundational. She just can't ever be a spokesperson for the lineage because of possible dual allegiance. Okay. Shout out to Hunter with the $20 super chat. He says, imagine that these women are all about women's rights, couldn't tell you what a woman is. And not only that, but dehumanize these women, have men impersonate as one. God, how much farther are we going to fall before you return? Does anybody want to speak to that?
Amen.
So just be very clear, scripture does not lie to you. To answer your question very directly, at least a little bit more, right? We know that Christ is coming soon, whether soon as in 5 seconds, 5 years, or 5 centuries. Look, this is foretold, y'all, right? One thing that you can say, you can be disgusted, it can be appalling, but you can't say that you're surprised, right? It's going to continue going this way. So now more than ever is when we need to speak up, just like you did very wonderfully, ma'am.
Yes. Author of confusion is Satan. So there you go.
Absolutely. Thank you, Amethyst Angel with the $5 super chat. Says she didn't get that script via her Bluetooth earrings. Talking about Kamala Harris.
Oh, wow. I forgot about those.
Oh, I love it.
Shout out to Eric Smith with the $10 super chat down there in DC. I must say I'm perplexed when I'm on the streets of DC and at Howard University. Just for context, Eric Smith did go and graduate from Howard University not too long ago, if I'm not mistaken. Correct me if I'm wrong, Eric. But let me go back. When I'm on the streets of DC and at Howard University, I can't find any Black men with rational thinking, but I can find 3 on here. What's going on?
Who's he not talking about? Who's he not talking about is my question. I'll take that here. Me, right?
Oh,
Just
That went
because
over
this
my
man,
head. That
just
went
because
over
this
my
man
head.
used to fly, doesn't mean you got to disrespect him like that. That man is
Look,
a very
just because he
black
sits
man.
on adamantium when he goes to the bathroom. First
It's
of all, to be
not
clear,
adamantium,
his
it's
company paid for
vibranium.
that. I
It's
apologize for my
vibranium.
outburst, sir. I really do. I got that one wrong. All right. Don't mean you gotta come for him. All right.
It's vibranium.
His company is doing well. He is not. All right.
I'm supposed to be a poor man.
You know, I gotta say
Shout
this to
out
Dave.
to,
sorry. Go ahead, sir.
No, go ahead. Go ahead, AT.
I was going
What
to
you
say, Dave, I picked up on it. For anybody who is starting a business, right? If you're starting a business because you want to get rich, I would take an example from Dave, right? Your business can be highly successful, but if you're taking that and stripping that from the people, your employees, and the community you could be helping, just take a minute. Ask yourself which one's going to go with you more, the material things, the things that you did to represent. Sorry about that, Wes.
Oh, no worries. I like that. Shout out to Freeman's Network with the $5 super chat says, so I'm not going to sit here and say I'm going to do something that's only going to benefit black people. No, we all know who that was. We all know who that was. But unfortunately, you got a lot of folks out there, man, that still wholeheartedly want to support this lady, man. I for the life of me, I don't get it. Although she is now no longer number one for 28. She's actually dropped below Pete Buttigieg. She's dropped below him. Now they actually got right now the polls say that Buttigieg is now the front runner to run for president on the Democratic
I want him to run. I want him to run.
28.
I thought it was AOC.
I want him to run. I want him to run.
What about Newsom?
I thought it was AOC that was on the top.
Right now, the rankings, as of what I saw yesterday, the rankings were Buttigieg, Harris, Newsom, AOC.
I want him to run.
That'd
Please
be
run.
entertaining.
That would be the best ticket in the world. Booty juice and Crockett.
AOC. Booty juice and Crockett. That'll be a good one too.
Oh man, that would be terrible.
I know, it'd be great.
That would be good. Honestly, we'd have so much to talk about. Oh my goodness, man. We'd have so much to talk about.
The super chats would be ever flowing, my brother.
But yeah, we'll save that one for another show. But no, I am there. Yeah, please run. Please, Democrat operatives that are watching the show, please run.
So bad.
Jasmine Crockett and Pete Buttigieg. Please.
They said it's going to be Jasmine Crockett and somebody. So they said AOC and Jasmine Crockett.
That's fine.
They said Newsom and Jasmine Crockett. Like, listen,
Jasmine Crockett don't have a chance. She just was up for what was she? Was it congressional? What was the oversight?
Yeah, oversight committee.
No. She got
That's what I'm
kicked to
saying.
the curb for that. Man, she don't have a
that's
chance.
that's why I want her to run. Let her run. Let her run. It'll further show exactly where the Democrat Party is going. It'll just like New York, just like what happened up in New York, really is showing. Now, of course, he hasn't been elected, and hopefully he won't. But if that guy Mamdani is elected, it shows where the party is gone.
Hey, Dave, before we get out of here, I want to hear your thoughts on that. What are your thoughts on the Democratic Socialist Zoran Mamdani?
First of all, you don't mess with the Zoran. You don't do that. It's disco. What do you mean? One of my
this
thoughts?
Guy, yo,
he's ready. He was ready. We walked into that, man. We walked into that.
Have you not had your tasty milk and tukin today? What is wrong with you? You not got your fizzy bubbler? No, homeboy. I like the Zoran. What are we talking about here? You don't mess with. That was a phenomenal movie. Adam said. Oh, you meant the dude from New York? Oh,
yeah,
okay. Listen, here's my thought. At this point, they're just playing with you, and they're proving that LBJ was right. LBJ, with his Kennedy blood-soaked clothing, took the oath of office and said, "I'm gonna have these hard R's." Voting Democrat for the next 200 years. They can put up they can put up Bubbles, Michael Jackson's old shit, and you guys will vote for him and then find a way to justify it. Because you will do exactly what they say they will do. You are part of the biggest psyop in human history, and you continue to say, "Yes, Daddy, can I have another?" That's on you. I think you're going to get exactly what you deserve if you vote for him. I think that y'all were okay out here in the streets while people are protesting with Mexican flags, talking about they have the right to stay in this country while they're being put up in fancy hotels, given food stamps, education, and this, that, and the third. But y'all got time to argue about reparations when they're repairing communities that never paid a dime in taxes. Girl, bye. Let the Zohan run wild. I can't wait to see it.
Before we get out of here, he back says we don't need no heavy synthetic head black woman in office running ish. Y'all are crazy, yo.
No, I mean,
I'm just gonna put my book up.
And Lady D, just to throw her back
You're
out
a
here,
troll.
she says Jasmine
Lady
Crockett is a perfect candidate. She has backbone. That right there, it tells you everything that you need to know about this individual, man. But I do appreciate you guys pulling up, man. Thank you, Dave. Thank you, AT.
sure.
Thank you, Jason. Thank you, Crystal, for pulling up today, man. Great conversation, man. I didn't mean for this thing to go this long, but
I'm sorry.
These things
I won't be back next week. I won't.
They tend to go this long, you know, when people are passionate about these conversations, man. So I do appreciate you guys and just have an opportunity, man, just spitball with you guys, man. This was awesome, man. I'll give you guys the last word if there's anything that you guys want to say, or if there's anything that you want to plug or share. I'll give you guys the opportunity to do so. We'll start with you, Jason.
Hey, thank y'all so much for having me. Wise, always a good time having a conversation. Dave, it was nice meeting you, brother.
Yes,
Looking
sir.
forward to maybe catching up with you again. AT, of course. And you got a fantastic live chat, man. Thank y'all so much for always keeping it happy and fun and all that kind of good jazz. I appreciate you. You can find me at Dear Woke Christian here on YouTube. Feel free to check me out, see what we got going on over there. Love to see you over there.
Yeah.
AT,
anybody else?
You want to go?
Yeah, I'll go for myself and for Crystal because I don't know where she stepped down. Crystal's on Crystal Beyond Labels on all platforms. She's here on YouTube. She's also on TikTok, Rumble, and X as well. Once again, that's Crystal Beyond Labels, exactly how it sounds, no spaces. She has an opportunity to talk about current events from a Christian perspective. She does a women's Bible study on Tuesdays and Thursdays, and her and I just started a new series on Revelation for Wednesdays on her TikTok platform. I myself am just here for right now for Wise and this wonderful group of individuals. I will not be starting the ministry formally until the fall time frame, and I'll have some more information for you at that point. But thank you all very much. Phenomenal live section, great conversation Wise, despite the nightmare fuel that you put in front of me. And I look forward to hopefully being invited to come back again one day. Go Army, beat Navy. God bless every single one of you.
Wow, the disrespect.
I know the disrespect, man.
He's like an inmate that just comes and jabs you and then go bench presses in the yard and doesn't even move. Like you don't even see.
At least I'll tell the guards that I stabbed him eventually.
Oh my gosh!
Wow.
Yeah, look, understand, y'all. I have nothing but love for Wise. He was in my sister's service here. I have a tremendous amount of respect for what they do. They've saved my life literally when I was in combat. So please know that I make fun of him. If anyone ever else did who wasn't in the service, I'll probably come for you. But I do appreciate the conversation always. For the man that you are, how you carry yourself, for the brothers of Christ up here and the sister in Christ. Crystal, I talked about you, but hopefully you get a chance to talk about yourself again anyways.
Go ahead, Dave.
Oh, I was going to yield to the sister.
Oh, go ahead, Crystal. If you'd like the last word, and we're wrapping up.
Okay, I'm sorry. I'm scared of what's going on over here on this side of Atlanta because they've been playing with my internet. Every time I turn around, I hear cops outside. I hear the Wi-Fi just went completely out. So I'm like, what is happening around here?
They go for the 8%ers first.
Apparently. Well, I just want to say thank you, guys. Thank you to all the gentlemen, Jason, AT, Dave. This was a great conversation. Thank you to everyone in the chat. I had a great time. I really appreciate that. I'm going to do a video on the Diddy situation, always from a biblical perspective. So you guys can find me at Crystal Beyond Labels. That is my YouTube channel. Wise. I don't know if you've seen what has happened in the last since receiving you and Jason's advice. What has happened to my stream? Thank you guys so much.
There we go.
You're welcome.
Thank
What
you,
happened?
guys.
Tell us what happened. I need to hear the good news. What happened?
What happened?
Well, I did what you told me.
Okay.
And it started increasing the watch hours. And then I did the video on Candace Owens, and it kind of went like over 25,000 views and God knows how many watch hours and stuff like that. So they're moving me into the space. Thank you.
There we go.
That's awesome, man. That is awesome. Congratulations. That's awesome.
Thank you.
Oh, is it my turn now?
Yes.
It's your turn now, Dave.
Oh, okay, cool.
Yes, sir.
Real quick, you can follow me on all social media platforms at The Business Bully. Make sure you subscribe to my YouTube channel. We've got some reaction content coming as soon as I get off of my book tour to promote the Real Black Agenda, exposing the myths, igniting the revolution. And everything in here has been fact-checked independently by 3 different fact-checking sources. You can go to therealblackagenda.com and get your copy And I'm telling you, it's a phenomenal conversation, not just for Black Americans, but for all Americans, even the people who are called tethers in a very, very horrible, despicable way that I do not co-sign at all. Love for my Black people, love for America. We're going to make America great again. Going to make America proud again. We're going to make America Black again. No, let me stop. But no, Wise, thank you so much for inviting me. Thank you for having me. Elad. No, I just really want to let y'all know I'm so happy to be talking to people who have more than 2 connected brain cells, who do not consume a heavy diet of Zeus, love, and hip hop, and artery clogging foods. It's phenomenal. So, chef's kiss, not unlike gas station sushi. Thanks for having me.
Yeah. Well, I appreciate you guys, man. Thank you guys so much for pulling up today, man. Again, a lot longer than expected, but it was a good conversation overall, in my opinion. So I do appreciate you guys. Definitely do. Y'all make sure y'all go check these folks out. I know everybody should be familiar by this time, with Dear Woke Christian. If you're not subscribed to his channel, go follow him, go subscribe him, he's doing great work. Go check out Crystal Beyond Labels. We got to get her over the hump. You know what I'm saying? Where, she's starting to make some paper on this YouTube thing, on this YouTube side of things. We're going to get you there though. This is where you want to be at. This is the side of things that you want to be. And thank you very much, Dave. Dave's all over the place. Dave's all over the place, and the fact that, we get one of the wealthiest brothers out here, man, to come bless us. This dude's doing, great things.
Where is my EBT card?
Dave, wait till y'all see him here. Y'all see him here, over on my little old channel. Y'all wait till y'all see the interview that comes out probably in about a week or so, and y'all will know what I'm talking about. But appreciate you, brother Dave, man. Thank you very much, man, for coming through and pulling up. Definitely AT as well, man. Appreciate you. I'm guessing that you're going to come on this YouTube side of things. I know you play over there in TikTok land, but hopefully you'll bring that over here. I need to get some information about this Bible study that you guys going on. I'd love to be a part of that. If I can get an invite, please send that over to me. I'd love to come there, man. But everybody in the chat, man, I hope you guys enjoy the rest of the day. Thank you guys for pulling up, man. Tomorrow is 4th of July, but hey, it's not gonna stop the show here, man. We're still doing what we do here tomorrow morning. So please pull up 9:30 a.m. Eastern Standard Time for ARP in the morning. We'll be here tomorrow morning. It will not be as long of a show as it was today.
Because I'm not gonna be
but we will make it happen. It is going to happen. So you guys make sure you guys pull up tomorrow. We'll be here tomorrow morning, man. I appreciate you guys, man. Keep God first, man. Stay prayed up. It is crazy out here in these streets. Tomorrow, keep your head on swivel, man. Keep your head on swivel. If you're out and about, watching the fireworks, and I'll talk about this a little more tomorrow, but if you're out and about watching the fireworks, man, keep your head on swivel, man. We've had a lot of, unseemly characters come through our southern border. You have no idea what they may or may not have planned. So make sure you keep your head on swivel. For me, I'm going to be at the house, or I'm probably going to be at one of my homies' house, man. We like to keep things very, very low key. I will not be at the National Mall down there watching those fireworks with these crazy people. I will not be down there. But if you do go, make sure keep yourself covered in prayer. Keep your head on a swivel, as they always say, out there. Those of you guys that know, we'll catch up with you guys next time, man. Y'all stay blessed out there, man. Peace.
You got it. Grace and peace.
Bye.
Take care.
Vibes so raw, can't hide the truth. Words so sharp.